Welcome, everybody, to the Texture Pop Podcast. I am your host, Sam Callahan, and with me this week we have Chris, Mr. Acharya.
That's my spirit animal is Dick Butt.
As is everyone's. And Brandon Gary.
I don't know how to top that.
Can't follow it up. Mr. Garrett Just Glazed Whiskey is currently out, but he will be back next week or the next, so...
Get better soon, Garrett.
He wasn't feeling well, so we told him that he didn't have to come to the cast.
We don't want him to get our sick on us. It's gross.
Yeah, we didn't want him to transmit his germs through the interwebs that are impossible to transmit germs through.
I mean, cartoons tell me that you can fit hands through phones. What's to say germs can't go through the internet?
It's a series of tubes, right?
Yeah. It's the internet's tubes. Anyway, Mr. Brandon Adonis Perkins sent some more questions. By the way, he has the same first name as you, Brandon.
God fucking damn it.
It's kind of funny because of Google Plus, it says his real name. So, I found that funny.
Which we probably shouldn't announce on the air.
That'll be
Just
fine.
saying.
Nobody wants
who cares?
It's a fucking name. Like, you know, people get uptight about it. It's like your name. People...
And then again, Perkins is a very common last name.
It's not like I'm saying your social
and
security
clearly,
or your
Brandon
address.
is a common fucking first name.
I don't think anyone's going to be able to find some random guy based on this. Just don't tell his address, which he writes right below. Anyway, so the show is still great. Got a couple more questions for you guys. God, the first one I read this and I just was holding my head. I recently downloaded Daikatana off Steam. I wanted to see if the game was up to... Yeah, let that sink in for a second. I wanted to see if the game lives up to the tarnished reputation. It's true that, objectively, the game is shit. The graphics don't really bother me that much, even though they're quite primitive for the era, but the controls are clunky, and yes, the two companions have the intelligence of a suicidal lemming. But the worst part is that despite all the problems, I could still see how the game could have been so much better than it was. I could still sense Romero's genius underneath all the digital feces. So my question is, have you guys ever played a game that was bad, it still seemed to have a good game deep down trying to get out?
You know, it kind of brings up this interesting contrast, because... we like to look at games that are considered like these legendary titles, like, oh man, like GoldenEye was the fucking shit. Like, you don't even know. But like, play GoldenEye now and does it really hold up? It's kind of weird if a bad game, something that was just completely reviled, if it holds up to its badness as it goes. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
people look back on like, it wasn't that bad. It was kind of just the context of the era. Which, to be fair, that game had terrible marketing that probably contributed to it. The whole, Romero's gonna make you his bitch.
I mean, the whole development cycle of it was also pretty fucking troubled, but... Yeah. But, like, his question, like, he's asking something we thought was bad and maybe found something fun in, or...
A bad game had the potential to be good.
Yeah, like a bad game where you looked at it and you're like, I can see that there's a good idea here, but the game was just not fun to play. You see something in it.
I kind of had a bit of a guilty pleasure in Mercenaries 2, World in Flames.
I refuse to believe that's a bad game. That is perfect.
I mean,
10 out of 10, would play again. Totally holds up.
I gotta find the fucking game ranking scores for this, because I remember it did not get that great of reviews.
No, at the time.
But it was, but I genuinely had fun with it, you know, because I was a fan of the first Mercenaries game, so I pre-ordered this one. And... maybe it was just that the... Oh, okay. No. This actually has some decent reviews, so I guess maybe this one isn't bad enough. Because it's got like a 72% on game rankings, so...
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were just like, it's middling. I mean, I guess I don't know if you want to qualify... I don't know what you want to qualify as bad, necessarily. I guess that just depends on who you ask.
Uh-huh. I see.
You know, because, I mean, there are some bad games you really honestly cannot find anything good about them, like Superman 64. Fuck that shit.
I love flying through rings.
I was told that was a very accurate Superman game. In fact, it told Superman's story perfectly.
Yep. Superman is a clumsy piece of shit.
And I am not doing this to piss you off at all, Chris.
You know what? I can't believe that.
I refuse.
My speech skill isn't high enough to sell that lie.
No. You're fucking full of it. I know some people would look at like the old Splatterhouse games as being like shit, but they have a cult following for kind of a good reason. I mean,
you know what? The Superman in Superman 64 is better than one in Injustice.
What?
He controls that much better, I think.
I
I don't even know what to say.
Brandon, I don't get you, man. There's
And you know it longer than I have.
Yeah, I don't.
We have a very
But I don't
tenuous
know,
relationship
like
with
the-
I
Brandon.
want to take that side because I know it pisses you off.
Kind of at the topic at hand, like that Splatterhouse game that came out like a couple years ago on like PS3 and 360, like that was okay. Like some people looked at it and kind of consider it like a poor man's God of War, but I mean, I bought it and I got a kick out of it. Granted, I did not pay full price for it, but
I never played Dante's Inferno, but would that also qualify?
Yeah, Dante's Inferno, I played it. I got to the final boss and said this is bullshit and sent it back to Gamefly, but
yeah,
I enjoyed it up to that point to a certain degree.
There was something to like about it, to where there is some
Your
fun
mom
combat.
will hate
and
this game.
That was Dead Space.
Oh, that was Space Base 2.
Yeah.
No,
They came out
like,
at
there
the
was-
Dante's
same
Inferno
time.
was the protesters who said this game will send you to hell or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, Dante's Inferno, like
both EA.
there were some solid controls in that game, and the combat was competent.
Yeah,
It's just that
it's just okay.
some of the level design elements were not that good. Like, fucking pull open a lever, a door closes on you, and you got a monster encounter. Now you got to pull that fucking lever open again after you beat these dudes. Like, stupid shit like that was what really held that back. And then that fucking endurance round at the end of it, like, fuck that shit.
Yeah,
I'm glad you've all have gone first because I have several answers to this question.
that's great because
Oh,
I haven't gone at all. That was just Chris.
Well, first I wanted to say that I actually did play Daikatana because a friend gifted it to me on GOG.
I'm sorry.
I didn't actually pay for it. I only lasted about an hour into the game before I quit because I was getting A, really bored, and B, hopelessly lost.
Sounds about right.
But aside from that, I have two games that I feel are objectively pretty bad games, but they do have something in them that is redeemable. The first game's gonna be no surprise to anyone. It's Alpha Protocol. Like, if any of you know me, you know that I love Alpha Protocol, but I have to admit it is an objectively bad game.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean,
But
because essentially that game was trying to be an RPG equivalent of like spy fiction.
And
It's just
to its credit, it was somewhat successful as a spy RPG because it's one of the few games where I could legitimately say your choices mattered.
yeah, like the dialogue and the story was actually really well done.
Yeah, it's just the fact that it played really terribly.
Yeah,
And
because
I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to deny that at all. It played really terribly. Unless you put it on easy mode with pistols, you were having a really annoying time with the game.
it's just the whole thing of like stealth kills and everything revolve around dice rolls, and some of that does and does not work. It's
But the other game that I would say was an objectively bad game, but it had some redeeming merits, was surprisingly enough the new Thief game.
Yeah, I played through that.
It is a really bad game, and there is no one who will dispute that with me. Sam will not dispute that with me, and he has played that.
Oh, I
I
played
know
it.
for a fact he's not going to dispute that with me, but I think you and I can both probably agree that there are at least some things in there that were redeemable.
Oh yeah, totally.
The core design was actually fairly solid. To me, the issue was the design of the levels.
Yeah, especially since like you could certainly argue for the control system.
Yeah.
It's just that the levels were not designed with that in mind all that great.
And I would also say that the open world was kind of pointless. In fact,
Yeah.
I would in fact change that and
It's
say it is
needless.
completely pointless.
Yep, would have been better if it was level based.
Yes, just like the old Thief 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Like the thing that Deadly Shadows introduced the open world, I'm like, it didn't need that. Really didn't.
nope.
It's not the point of a Thief game. But those are my two answers, and I think you can both kind of see where I'm coming from with that.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at my shelf right now to think of them. I think I've got two that I can think of, maybe three.
I mean, I kind of stole one of yours with Thief.
Yeah, no, I wasn't thinking about that actually. One of them I haven't played it yet, so I don't know if I can weigh in too much on it. But I did recently purchase Lair, the PS3 launch game.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
a cool
That
game,
was shit.
marred by bad controls,
Yeah.
and it was reviewed pretty poorly.
It was a 6-axis, if I recall
yeah,
correctly.
they patched
Yeah.
in analog support later on. to my
God,
understanding.
nobody liked 6-axis, and I don't know what
No.
someone's thinking.
It's just they were competing with the Wii. Or no, wait. I was gonna say that was the same year, so they would have known about the Wii controls by then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember that joke of like of people saying like, "Oh, what is this? The PS3 remote?"
Yep. This one, I'm not entirely sure if I won't even defend it, but I think there might be something to 2 Human. Years and years before it came out, I'm sure there was a great concept there.
I can see where you're coming from.
Cyber Valhalla is a pretty cool thing, Diablo style. It just
I
all
will
fell
say
apart.
that when I heard the concept behind 2 Human, I was intrigued.
Yeah, when I first heard about it, I was like,
When
this
I
seems pretty
saw
sick.
the actual game in motion, I was no longer intrigued.
Yeah. So, as someone, and honest to God, I played through that game from start to finish.
I'm sorry.
And
Oh, wow.
yeah,
How long is it? Like, is it a long game or is it a short game?
Because I
Just
remember
relatively,
Yahtzee's
ballpark.
evaluation of it.
I think it's like a medium length kind of game. Like it
Okay.
kind of falls in the middle. Like I don't think it was super long, because I don't remember it taking me that long to finish it. But when I did get through it, I still didn't understand the fucking story whatsoever.
Yeah,
Like,
I heard that was a
I
common
just
complaint.
did not get what was going on. Like I still remember Dennis Dyack, being the fucking madman that he was, talking about like, oh, if you're aware of like Norse mythology, you'll totally get what's going on. I'm like, really?
Really?
Because I don't know about this. Like I vaguely remember some of the stuff that I've studied when I once studied mythology at a certain point. The Norse I'm not as familiar with as like say Greek or Roman, but I'm aware of like who some of these dudes are and everything.
Well, Norse mythology is very, very dense compared to other mythologies. From what I remember reading about when I was doing research on like Valkyrie profile.
But like, I mean, I
I love that
remember
game.
like there was this whole thing like the main character was Baal, the Norse god of
Balder.
beauty. Balder. Okay,
Balder.
I don't know where I got Baal from, but yeah, Balder, like Norse.
The Norse god of being a total pussy.
Yeah, basically.
And
And
check
yeah,
out
he
my
is our
electric lines
hero.
on my face!
Who
Yeah,
had his mom
basically.
call all of the world and tell him to be extra special nice to him.
Yeah, so I
Please
still
tell me
like.
one of you know what I got that from.
I
God.
don't remember, man. I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the context. Was it
Like-
Zero Punk?
Yes, it
Yeah.
was 0 punctuation. Yahtzee's review of it.
Oh,
Yeah, like
poor guy played that
Too
game,
Human.
too.
Looking back on that, I think what was interesting about it was like the progression and like the customization of it.
Yeah.
Combat was, oh god, that
Weird.
combat.
I saw the Valkyrie death scene, and I heard
Yeah,
that
you
it
can't
was.
You
skip
can't
that.
skip it!
I don't.
Every
I
time.
think I would kill the designer if I had to put up with all that every fucking time I
Like,
died.
that one really
Yeah.
bugs me because that feels like a playtesting thing of like somebody had to have to skip it, and I could just see Dennis Dyack go like, "No, it's important. Death is important in this game." And they're just like, "But I have things to do, man. I can't watch this 2-minute death scene every time."
I would probably rage quit at that point. Like no joke.
Yeah, unskippable stuff is the worst part of video games to me.
It-
Just
Yeah.
any unskippable anything, cutscenes, gameplay.
I
elements.
remember I was playing Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and I paused the game in the middle of the scene. I'm like, oh shit, they added cutscene skip. Thank the fucking
Oh, so like you
lord.
pause it and there's like a skip and
Yeah,
continue
and
button.
it says you can either continue or skip scene. I'm like, oh god, they added cutscene skip. Thank God.
Somebody listened.
Yes.
So I think for my third choice, I'm gonna go with the super topical answer of Firefall, and say that there might have been something there, but
Nice
man.
transition.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. We do have another question, but we'll talk about Firefall in just a minute. So maybe we should go into it now as opposed to later.
Do what you want, dude.
But we have to answer the other one, which is weird because I have no context for this. Have you guys played Brutal Doom yet? You really should. I didn't think a 20-year-old FPS could be so much fun, but this mod proved that the game's design still holds up all these years later. This and Wolfenstein: The New Order reminded me why I used to love id Software. I've never played Brutal Doom.
I
and
have
have
not
beaten
played
New
it,
Order.
but I have heard of it.
Yeah,
Yes.
the same here. I basically saw this from a recent video of Let's Drown Out, which is a kind of a video podcast thing that Yahtzee,
Yahtzee
does on his
does.
channel. Yeah, so that's where I saw this.
Yes, I remember that
Like-
one.
So is it a mod for
Like-
Doom? Is that the whole thing?
Yes, it's a mod for. This is the original Doom or Doom 2?
Fuck,
I think
Not
it's the
me.
original Doom. I don't know.
Where it adds things like mouse look support.
What? They changed everything.
They
Use
put
your
in
mouse?
like kind of, I don't want to say God of War-esque, but like cinematic kill methods for like some of the monsters. Like if
Yeah,
you melee
I
them
heard
a
it was,
certain
like,
way. Like,
gory.
And they
What's the
they
thing?
put in a lot of basically
brutal.
like they put in a lot of like UI features that have become standard in modern shooters that when you go back to play old ones, it really hurts you don't have them.
Did they like
Yeah.
make the HUD smaller, like relative to new monitors as well, or something like that? So it doesn't take up like half the screen.
maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. Never played it. I have played and beaten New Order though, new Wolfenstein game.
Oh shit.
It's a very interesting game, and I've been meaning to write about it because there's a weird juxtaposition between the fact that you have like this arcade-style dual gun-toting gameplay, and then a story which is like, war is really bad, guys.
Is it ludonarrative dissonance?
Sure. It's basically, it's kind of the Valiant Hearts problem of just the, which I guess that's what ludonarrative is, where like the gameplay does not match the story and
Yeah,
like, the
that
sort of
is
feel.
called ludonarrative dissonance.
Yeah, it's funny because it does work sometimes, but it's just really weird that you're shooting cyber Nazis while dual-wielding SMGs, and then the cutscenes are amazing, but just really dark.
Ludonarrative dissonance.
I been meaning to ask, like, how big was that game again? Because I remember it was fucking huge. Like,
35 gigabytes.
Jesus fucking Christ.
It
Still-
doesn't
still
know
not as-
compression. That's not a word in their dictionary.
yeah, it's still not as big as fucking Titanfall, but
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's funny that Rage came out as 20 gigs, and people are like, holy shit, man, like, cool it, and then this hooks as 35. Like, did you learn nothing?
nope.
They don't know what audio compression is, or...
John Carmack doesn't give a fuck.
John Carmack's like,
Yeah,
dude,
John
you gotta see
Carmack
all these
doesn't
pixels.
care.
Check out my mega textures. Although this is with Machine Games, so I don't know if it's, like, the same deal, or if that just happened to be a
Well,
coincidence.
yeah, it was.
Mega textures. That was
this
a
was,
failed experiment.
Mhm.
New Order was Bethesda, wasn't it?
Oh, excuse
Yes.
me, right, it's an id, like, property, but Bethesda published
Yeah.
it, and Machine Games made it. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Brutal Doom, I'll have to check that out at some point. But, I would totally recommend Wolfenstein New Order. Great game. It's funny, though, that I think I mentioned this in some podcast, I don't remember, that the best part about the game is not the gameplay at all. Like, to me, it was, because I have no nostalgia for that kind of game, so to me, I adored the story and the characters and the music especially. Didn't care for the gameplay at all of a shooter.
That's probably why. That's probably why I really want to play this a lot, considering this is more from like the era I grew up in, and it's one of the reasons why I gave a shit so much for Rise of the Triad, despite the latter half of that game not being.
The new one, you mean?
Yeah,
Or
like,
Redux
well, I
or
mean,
For
whatever it
reference
is.
to the viewers, Chris is 10 years older than Sam and I.
yeah, I kind of grew up around that time when stuff like Wolfenstein was new.
We like to think that
And-
makes for an interesting juxtaposition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I haven't played New Order yet, but I totally want to. So,
I would totally suggest it. You'll probably
yeah,
like the
whenever I get
gameplay
my-
as well as everything else, so you'll like it more than I will, probably.
yeah, as soon as I get my new
I
video
enjoy Half-Life 1 and 2, so I'd probably end up liking this to myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's, like I said, it was just kind of, it is kind of like a Half-Life, though, where it's like, I played it for the story, like, I wanted to see what happened to the characters, so I'm like, I'm playing a fucking shooter for the story.
Yeah,
What does the
especially-
world come to?
especially because of the fact, like, despite the fact that this was a shooter, they didn't feel obligated to just throw some fucking multiplayer mode in there because who gives a
Yes,
fuck?
I adored that. I just beat the campaign, and I was like, alright, there is a alternate timeline sort of dealio going on that I don't have to play, and otherwise I am done. And
See,
that's great.
whenever you make a choice, the one of two things can happen. You could have made one choice, you could have made the other choice. And when that happens, the path is branched. So one universe you made one choice, the other you made the other choice. Basically, what I'm saying is that Wolfenstein takes place in Bioshock Infinite verse.
Oh, okay. That's Elizabeth was in the background with
Yes.
Death's head.
In Paris, obviously.
Yeah, without spoiling anything, basically the timeline thing is just like you choose between one of two characters, and then it's like you have their timeline or their timeline. So it just changes like
yeah, you see,
dialogue.
you make one choice and the path diverges.
Yeah, I have no idea if it changes the story grandly or anything. I doubt it. Yeah, cool game. Anyway, should we get right into it?
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
do it.
Firefall's not a good game. Podcast server. Firefall's really not good.
So is this your turn or Chris's turn to talk about Firefall?
It's everybody's
I don't
turn.
care,
Let's all
fucking-
talk about
yeah.
Firefall. Hey Chris, tell me about Firefall. You played it when we both played it at the same time, and that was extra fun.
And
Do tell.
Oh, it's a nightmare. Don't play with friends because it's fucking worse than playing alone.
Like I messed around with it before Sam and I played together, and like playing by myself, I was bugged simply because it suffers from a lot of the same contrivances that every other MMO suffers from, to where it's like, I know the game is telling me I'm the lone special hero, but I'm really just another theme park attendant.
Out of 50,000 other theme park attendants.
Yeah, basically, waiting in line along with everybody else to do a boss fight, or going through the attraction while the game sets it back up.
You're not a chosen one, you're a chosen one.
Yeah, we literally felt that, though, in the point where we got to, like, a quote-unquote dungeon at the tutorial area, and it was straight up like, you have to blow up these things, and they were all blown up, so we had, like, a group of 10 people just waiting around for these things to respawn. And that's when Chris brought that up, and I was like, oh my god, he's right. We're just standing here waiting for the attraction to come back. It's so dumb. That's just... MMOs are so broken in that respect.
Granted, like, some MMOs, like, they know they can't really come up with a better solution than that, but they manage to make it they manage to make it work. At the very
least.
Like Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
It really fucking works there. But Firefall, fuck no. Just But yeah, I was messing around with it and got my engineer up to level 5. I'm like, great, now I've got this cool engineer stuff, which was the reason I even bothered to play this class, battle frame, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And
it's a fucking class.
Then just a simple act of Sam and I trying to get into the same party. What? Remember this?
Oh, I'd never forget.
Yeah.
So, to try to describe it, in an average MMO, basically, you make friends with somebody, and you're like, okay, we're friends now, and you invite them to your party, and then they show up on the map, and you say, hey, we're gonna meet here. And you're like, alright, that's cool. So, basically, we added each other's friends, I invited my squad, and I saw his name up in the top left, and I was like, hey, Chris, meet me at the job board. He's like, alright. And like 5 minutes later, I was like, Chris, where are you? He's like, I'm dancing at the job board. I was like, no, you're not. He's like, yeah, I am. And I was like, well, I'm dancing at the job board. And it took us, I had to go Google it, mind you, because you have to do a / command in the chat to load into your party leader's instance, and it does not tell you that anywhere in the game.
What?
So I had to go to the forums, and somebody's like, oh yeah, you have to do / load leader or something like that.
Unacceptable.
Yeah. And it never said. And after that, it just got worse.
I mean, the other night, like, the fact of... I was playing this fucking game a half hour before Sam had even gotten on, and then Sam...
I forgot about the initial problems we had.
You and a friend of yours, like, we were trying to log in. I was playing the game a half hour ago, and I couldn't fucking log in. So it kept on giving me an error, like I didn't have the authentication key. And basically, their fucking solution was, don't use Steam to start up the game. Just go to where the actual client executable is in your fucking folder and start
That's
it that
what their official Twitter account told me to do when I looked it up.
Yep.
Because apparently they broke the Steam API, so they're like, oh, just do this.
Yeah, like, you were trying to make a new account, it wouldn't even work.
Yeah, you couldn't create new accounts either, which is what I tried to do.
You couldn't reset your password, it was really fucked.
It would send me emails. Yep.
Like, I don't mean to judge a whole game by... technical difficulties like that. Sometimes that shit happens. You can't even log in.
That's a poor first impression.
Pretty much, yeah. That's.
And then we had the party stuff because a friend of mine had to drop out because he had things going on.
Yep.
Before we get to the end, I'm trying to think of gameplay stuff that happened. I was playing as a recon, and I remember commenting on the fact that I was playing as a recon with an automatic rifle. So I was like, I'm not really a sniper of any sort. I'm still just playing it like I have an assault rifle.
Yep.
And you kind of were too, so it's just kind of like, let's just stand around and kill these bugs, and I'm not gonna move because they don't do enough damage.
Yeah, because I was playing an engineer, and it's like, I had a shotgun. At one point, I got an assault rifle from a drop, and I felt like equipping that would have gone against my class, so I was like, no, I'm gonna stick with my shotgun because I'm an engineer, and my fucking Ghostbuster / Portal laser rifle that I have that either allows me to hurt stuff or heal stuff, whatever it works. And yeah, like it's like I didn't feel like, and granted, probably like first level enemies and you don't have your abilities right away, you can kind of chalk it up to that. But it was like, I feel like I'm playing each class the same way. I'm gonna move around and shoot.
You click their
really,
shins, like drop.
really feels like a poor man's Borderlands. Like, a lot of people argue that they don't like Borderlands because there's very little tactile feedback when you're hitting enemies. They feel like you're just sponging it up. Imagine that, but worse.
Oh,
like,
man.
you feel like you're just, like, looking at them and they're losing health. There's
And
no
I hate
visual or
Borderlands.
audio feedback that you're really hitting them that hard.
And I'm one of the few people that hate Borderlands.
Yeah, you would despise this game, or it would put you to sleep, which I believe Chris nearly fell asleep when we played it.
Yeah, I seriously
tired.
started fucking yawning. Like,
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that
Okay.
was terrible.
so here's something I want to bring up, because I know we mentioned that we couldn't fucking log in, and the Twitter account was basically telling us, "Oh, just don't launch it through Steam, launch it through the folder directly." Yeah.
Fucking obviously. Like,
Now, because some games, even though they are on Steam, sometimes you can just download them separately, because some games do that. But
well,
this
yeah,
was
lots
on
of,
Steam.
like MMOs and stuff. Yeah, they have
But
clients.
but this launched on Steam, so that kind of obviously people are going to get through there. I'm looking at their website, and
Uh-oh.
they actually, like, I was looking to see, like, because some games, like, you go to their websites and they'll basically tell you have to go through Steam or don't. And through here, they give you two options. One, install through Steam, recommended, or download directly with the streaming installer or full installer.
So they even recommend
Recommended.
Oh, that's
They
funny.
recommend you get it through Steam.
Yep.
Because it also does its updates through Steam. It's not like one of these games, like, it's not like Warframe where you boot it up and then
Yeah. It's
it
all
updates on
Steamworks
its own.
integrated stuff.
Yep.
Wow, that's
So-
so bad.
So the
It's
fact
so
that we had to
weird.
bypass that seems even more ridiculous. This
Yep.
That's that is awesome in the most terrible way possible.
So now we have to get to the first time that I killed myself in the game on purpose, which was when.
Are we all still in the same fucking game?
Yeah,
Huh?
no, we're still talking about Firefall. We're not fucking done yet. We got to get to the next
Jesus.
great part, which is, in a standard MMO, when you get quests, you usually accept like 5 quests at a time, and then you do them all because they're all in the same area, right? That's how a lot of people play MMOs.
Right.
So in Firefall, I went up to the job board, I accepted a quest, and the first time I played it, I never thought to accept more. So this time, I accepted all of them, and then when I looked over, I was like, "Hey, Chris, why don't I only have one quest?" And he's like, "You can only accept one quest at a time." And I
Yeah.
just started firing at the ground, and I was just bleeding. I was like, "Chris, just let me die, please." I was like, "I
it
can't do
basically
this."
borrowed the idea from Destiny. Like,
Yeah, you can only do one quest at a
Oh
time.
God!
Even though they're all in the same area, you have to go
Oh,
back to the
oh,
same area.
Christ.
It was atrocious. And I just remember trying to kill my character. I was like, "Chris, just let me die." He's like, "No, you have
oh,
to
but
suffer."
wait, there's more.
You have something you remember?
How much worse can it possibly get?
Because the last thing I remember is the ending, but I don't know if you want to get to
Yes.
that yet unless you have something. Alright, I want you to talk about the ending.
Well, the only other thing I can mention besides that was because you played a female character, and yeah, while the dancing on the male character model looks kind of stupid, the female character just has this fucking stripper dance. That's
it is
super
straight up
late.
booty shaking. Like you split your legs and you start shaking your
You
ass.
bootylicious,
Yeah.
bootylicious Sam.
Which also the fact that, we're trying to get in, we're kind of in an era where we're trying to make equal representation for females to make them not look like sluts in armor. And yet when you choose the assault class, she has like boy shorts and leg armor and that's it. There's like,
Yeah.
she doesn't have pants.
Slutty girls in slutty
like-
costumes.
It's like they both get these big bulky boots, but it's like one of them has more emphasis on their ass than the other one. Can you tell which one?
I'll just give you a hint, it's not the male. I looked.
Oh,
Would you be okay if it was the male though?
No, because I definitely fight for equal representation on both
So-
sides. So considering it happened to you, I want you to talk about how the ending worked.
okay. So
Considering you were
basically,
affected.
in any other MMO, if you're in a party and somebody in your party like accepts a quest, talks to the NPC, it counts towards everybody else that's doing it, right?
Assuming you both have the quest, which
Oh
we did.
no, I
Yes.
don't like
Yes.
where this is going.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah. No, it's going
we-
there.
So I let Sam do everything. He was talking to the NPCs, queuing everything up.
Oh,
We went to the areas.
We
We-
walked
we
all
both-
the way to the ocean, nearly drowned in our robotic armor in the
Yeah.
ocean.
Yeah,
This was
because
great.
despite the fact that these guys all have this heavy, bulky shit on, they can't be anywhere near water, which would obviously weigh them down.
Oh no.
So-
In the future,
So
we
we
did not
both
design
went out-
waterproof armor to go to a water-based area in Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we both went out to the area. We were both killing shit. We were completing objectives, and Sam turned it in, and I was like, "Oh, well, let me see if I've got the award yet." Oh, well, maybe I have to turn it in too, because sometimes Borderlands will make you do that.
Yeah, everybody's turned in because it gives you the reward screen on there.
Yeah, because as long as you did the objective, you're like,
Yeah.
But
oh my god.
when I went to talk to the NPC, it basically started saying that I had to do the quest.
Oh my god.
As if
It
I
didn't
had not
track
done anything.
After we made friends, after we joined our squads, after we loaded in the same instance, got to the same area, made sure we accepted the same quest, we worked as hard as we could to try to make that game work. And then we ended it by me just
my
shooting at the ground, and I was
God.
like, "Chris, just let me die." And he's like, "Okay," and I just started bleeding out.
Because when you accepted the quest at the job board, it showed up on my screen that this is the mission that we're on. Go do this. And for some reason, when after you were done and turned it in, and I went to talk to her, maybe I had to turn it in. No, it didn't count anything towards my progress of it.
Yep. I thought about afterwards that maybe you had to talk to her too, but there was like, it wouldn't make sense if you had to talk to her
There's
and
no
then you wouldn't have to at the
indication.
end. Yeah, it
What?
doesn't say like, you have,
No.
both players have to speak to it. It doesn't give you any kind of help.
No, it fucking told me I had to go kill all that shit again.
Let me ask, is this an early access game?
No,
No.
it is out.
Yeah, this is
It is out for
considered.
free. You can pay $50 to get him out in black armor.
But you totally
No.
shouldn't.
I would suggest paying any money.
No.
That's terrible.
It
Yeah,
was,
this-
it was a hell of an experience.
And you
That
guys
was-
were super excited too when I
Like,
saw
when-
it
Like,
too.
I knew it was going to be kind of bad, but I was like, I don't know, I've had some decent, okay times with it playing alone, and I was like, this will be fun, it'll be kind of dumb, I'll get some friends
Yeah,
together.
like
It was just
I didn't
painful.
like. I was willing to look past a lot of its
when
flaws.
Chucky and I played
when I was-
playing our game, he was going to go to play Firefall with you, and he looked super excited.
I mean, it's kind of like the Borderlands effect of like, dude, I just want to play with friends and shoot stuff and talk.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
a
it's like, I
social
don't think
aspect.
Borderlands that great alone. I think it's actually kind of bad, but play with friends, it's great.
Yeah,
So I
that's it.
expected Firefall to be the
That's
same thing.
Exactly. It's bad when you're playing by yourself. You need to have a friend to play Borderlands with you.
Yeah. And
Oh,
no,
it's-
it
Just like I
actually,
said-
the game was so unfriendly to co-op players. It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
I'm
'Cause
so
like I said,
sorry, guys.
When we play when I was playing Firefall by myself, I was looking past its flaws. I was having an okay time with it, and I was like, this might be more interesting when I play with Sam. No, it got worse.
Yep. Which is probably the worst thing you can ever say about an MMO. Worse with other
It
people.
gets worse with friends.
Yep.
God, yeah.
It's worse. It's
Fuck.
worse with friends.
It was so
The Facebook
bad.
game.
It would probably be better off if it was a Facebook game. It's probably just the saddest part is that game has been over for 9 years and it turned out so terribly.
Yeah, like
That's
like
what
I
kills me.
I don't think they have a big studio. The people behind this,
Yeah, Red 5.
like- yeah, they're yeah.
It's just, it's like, I feel for the developers, man. They fucking tried, but just, you would have been better off not
Wow.
releasing it and just
And
saying,
then, like
fuck
in
it.
like an MMO really is the hardest thing in the industry to make.
Yeah. I
That-
mean, Elder Scrolls Online proves that, where it's just kind of like, they fucking tried, but MMOs are hard, man. They take the most out of money, the
Yep.
most out of development, and they're generally the least liked among a small community of people that you can even sell it to. It's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
a nightmare to make an MMO, it
And
seems
the-
like.
I don't know why people keep thinking that MMO is where the money is, because honestly, it isn't. WoW is
That may
not
have-
even WoW is doing as well as it used to at this.
Yeah, like that may have been true when like subscription fees were considered to be more acceptable, but in this day and age, like stuff like Elder Scrolls Online and WildStar are basically considered these anomalies now because everything just kind of goes free to play
Well,
pretty quickly.
the thing with Elder Scrolls Online is that no one is saying anything about it,
Yeah.
good or bad.
That's kind of funny that he's just died. Like, I don't hear anyone on Twitter talking about
Remember, and I keep saying this. Goat Simulator came out that same day and became wildly the more popular game. At least the most talked about game.
I remember when I was excited for Elder Scrolls Online.
Can
I
you
was like, Elder
believe
Scrolls
that
with friends?
Can you believe Goat Simulator topped the MMO of one of the biggest RPG franchises
With no
of
marketing.
all time?
It comes right, no marketing whatsoever beyond, hey, we made this thing. I don't know.
Think
I mean,
about
there are other contributing factors like the style of game and all that, but you're right. Like, it is weird when you think about it.
This up and coming game with a stupid premise from a developer who has a completely unknown record up until the point of that game's release.
Well, it's Coffee Stain. They're not the Rogue Legacy guys, are they? I don't remember.
Which game?
Goat Simulator, that developer. Because I'm pretty sure that's Coffee Stain Studios. I don't remember if that's the Rogue Legacy guys.
Rogue Legacy was Cellar Door.
Celador, because that's also the Don't Shit Your Pants guys.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
they completely trumped the biggest MMO of the biggest RPG franchise of almost of all time.
Yeah.
Like, I still can't help but go back.
mind-blowing.
Like, I still can't help but be reminded of, like, all the shit that happened with the Old Republic. Like, here you have one of the biggest
Oh, the Old
development
Republic!
houses.
Remember that disaster?
Yeah, you have
It's
one of
free to
the
play
biggest.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the biggest development houses in all of the United States. You have, one of the biggest publishers. You had one of the most recognized licenses, and you could not make. You couldn't justify a subscription with that.
I have a theory that game is why the Mass Effect trilogy sucks, though as bad as it
That's not a theory. To many, that's fact. Because a lot of people got pulled off of Mass Effect trilogy, Mass
did. Yeah,
Effect
like
3.
the best writers of BioWare got pulled off
Yeah.
the Old Republic.
As well as like BioWare's founders who
Yeah.
basically like that game fucking murdered them to make that.
Yeah,
I remember
I
a friend of
feel-
mine being so excited for Old Republic, and when it came out, he was so... Yeah, I've never seen the guy so angry before.
I still remember. I remember. I like to watch reviews from the MMO grinder, also known as Chaos Dark One or John Burkhart, whatever. When he did his review for Old Republic because it had gone free to play. Like, he was talking about how some people like kind of criticize the fact that like people don't want to pay any money for it. Like, oh, if they don't want to experience, they need to pay money if they want to experience the game. And Chaos D1, like, his reaction to that was basically like, if the game was good enough to warrant people paying for it, we wouldn't be here right now, would we?
And look at where they are. One of them is probably going back to medicine, and the other one is brewing beer.
Yeah, I don't know. Fucking MMOs.
I wonder how the beer brewing business went for him. Doesn't matter.
I don't know, but I don't want to talk about Firefall anymore.
Yeah. I can't believe I'm gonna renew my WildStar subscription just so I can get to level 20. It's like I talked to a friend of mine. I was like, I will give any MMO to level 20. I was like, I guess I'll just pay for one more fucking month. But that probably tells me my thoughts on WildStar.
So,
okay.
great game?
Fucking... It should probably say a lot that I'm happy to renew my subscription to Final Fantasy XIV and not to WildStar. Even though, like, WildStar is generally accepted as being way better. And I enjoy Final Fantasy XIV more.
Final Fantasy 14 is not that bad,
has
though.
done pretty well,
Yeah.
given that it's abysmal start.
It came a long way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway. So, Chris, what you been up to?
I beat Shovel Knight. That game is dope.
You shoveled?
Yeah,
Reunited?
I delivered some fucking shovel justice.
Reunited.
You're nothing but a decadent dandy. I remember posting that to Twitter.
Kind of what I will say about the game is that, the game initially, it doesn't go out of its way to be super hard like some kind of classic 8-bit games do, but this one, it doesn't go out of its way to be super hard, but those last levels do not pull any fucking punches. Like, I had to repeat a good number of sections and checkpoints in those last few stages, and that final boss, holy shit, which I don't want to spoil anything about. All I would say is that, yeah, Shovel Knight is fucking fantastic, and I
No
look very
spoilers, we're
forward
gonna
to...
spoil it.
No,
I mean, they tell you the end goal by the beginning of the game. Unless something changes, unless it's like a sudden plot twist.
well, I mean, you fight the Enchantress, but there is something of a... There's something of a twist to it, but whatever.
Okay.
it's a good ass game, and I'm looking forward to going back to it. Not really a whole lot I can say more than that, but game is fucking dope. Some of the other things I did, I got to play with Brandon on Injustice.
Yeah,
that was
finally get
actually a pretty
revenge
fun
for all the
time.
XCOM.
Yeah,
Yeah, Brandon.
I mean, we generally played around, and I won most of the play around matches. But when he brought back Riley Superman, I lost both times. Well, I got really close.
yeah.
Is Superman just like OP, or does like Chris just know how to play him?
I have practiced
I
the
don't think
most with
Superman
Superman.
is particularly OP. No,
Okay.
not really.
So it's just that you know how to play the character.
Yeah, I know his fucking combos and his special moves and how to which moves transition well between combos and everything, and
Yeah.
what frames do I pull off his super move so I don't whiff, because that's the other big thing. Like,
You're such a
'cause that's the
fucking
other-
nerd.
Yeah, because Superman isn't particularly OP. At least not that I can think of. Honestly, he's pretty okay, but not that great.
Some people used to say that he was when the game initially launched, but then after a patch he was dumbed down a little bit. But a lot of people say that he was just more balanced. I don't
If
know the
anything,
specifics.
Deathstroke's the character that needs the fucking nerf bat.
Yeah, basically. He fucking just spam your guns. But you know,
Never
we
seen
played
that.
some matches for fun. Like I
I
was
just
just
put conversation in the middle of the matches.
yeah, I
About
had picked some
EC and
characters.
all that in the game.
I love talking
I
about
picked some
comics
characters
with Chris.
that-
It's always a good time.
I'd pick some
Yeah.
characters that I'm not really that good with.
Chris was educating me about Cyborg, Superman.
Yeah, as well as finding out that Hawk Girl has more kicks than a can of Mountain Dew. Holy shit! Like,
Hawkgirl's mace can wreck shit up,
yeah,
man.
yep. Like I wasn't even trying with Hawk Girl.
It shouldn't be that strong, but like fuck.
Yeah, and then like after we got done with like our matches for fun, I basically told him, I was like, Brandon, I must wreck your shit, and then I picked Superman.
Yeah, we were going to do one final match with my Batgirl against his Supes, and but the game lagged out.
Yeah, it did.
And we
Flat
both.
out,
and
as in
neither one of
Brandon
us
pulled
felt
his
like-
Ethernet cord.
Well, no, because like Batgirl was pretty tough in her own way.
Yeah, because she has that one cheap throw of like she disappears and then
She used a smoke bomb disappear, and then she goes right above you and uses an attack throw.
So what era of Batgirl is this? Is this Barbara Gordon, or is it the girl who became
It's
a
Barbara
different...
Gordon.
Okay.
yeah,
It's like an alternate universe where after the Killing Joke, she recovered.
Oh, okay.
yep.
So who was the Well, I remember there was another girl who became Batgirl, but then she became some chick with a
Aren't
purple
there like
hood.
5
There's
Batgirls?
like 4. But who was?
Yeah,
do you remember the name of the one who became the one with the purple hood? Do you remember her new identity? I just remember seeing that, and like I think it was Batman War Drums, and I was like, "What's this chick with the purple
Oh,
hood?"
maybe Bob was talking about this in one of his
She was the second
big
Batgirl, I
pictures.
think. Kind of like how Dick Grayson became Nightwing, like Batman still talks to them and shit.
But yeah, it's the Barbara Gordon Batgirl.
Okay, good for Barbara.
Yeah. So that was fun. Probably the only other thing to note is that I went back to Dead Space 3.
I'm sorry, Chris. Truly, I am.
Hey, feel sorry for me because we gotta continue playing it.
Yeah, we totally do. Like because I downloaded it
Sam,
on
do you really?
I have to know how it ends. I have to.
Because
know.
I downloaded it from PSN Plus, and like I was playing around with it, kind of getting familiar with it again, and I still defend the first half of that game, like when you're out in space and everything. Well, it's not even the first half; it's more like the first quarter of it, because there's actually a lot more of the game later on. But
I will contend that because that might be because I was playing co-op.
Oh, he played
Well,
co-op too. He was there.
Yeah.
The game really like it feels like co-op should be more fun than it is.
well, like you would even said when you were out in space, like you didn't remember how to use like the objective markers or nothing, which
Yeah.
really does come in handy when you're floating around out there because it's easy
And
to
there
get
was
lost.
like one fucking puzzle. Like I was telling you about this in our Injustice conversation, where you have to like there's a bunch of trash in the way of like the train or something. I don't remember the exact context of the story because it's hard to pay attention to the story when you have a co-op partner. You're just
Yeah, there's a
You're
tram
yelling
and
at.
Yeah, there's a tram, and before you can summon the tram, you have to clear the cargo that's on the rails.
And in co-op mode, the way that works is that one player does the puzzle while the other player defends him. So that if...
I remember that.
But in the single player that Sharky was telling me about, that doesn't happen.
No,
the single
you
player
basically...
has all the fucking time in the world to solve the puzzle because the ambush occurs after he finishes.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That is bullshit.
That's co-op design.
That is bullshit to the highest fucking degree.
It's where, like, you know, if you're playing in single player, you can get through any door, but when you play in co-op, every door needs two fucking
Wait
people
for your
to open.
partner. Because God forbid we have two areas loaded up at the same time.
Memories of Resident Evil 6.
It's almost like a Jack and Daxter game when I was going through the elevators. Like, this is a fucking loading screen.
Yeah. No, we made that joke when we were playing Dead Space.
This is like playing Jack 2 with the fucking airlocks again.
Yeah. When we made videos about that, I made a joke where we're going to the elevator before you meet the guy in the white coat. I just put the Mass Effect elevator music in the background.
Yeah.
Which is great. I was like, it's just that, basically. It's just the Mass Effect 1 elevators.
Basically. But, yeah, like, after you get on the planet, and then when you have to start putting up with fucking, like, actual soldiers, it's, I don't like...
One thing about the planet that pissed me off is that, because I just, like, I'm on chapter 11 now.
Jeez.
I am filing for bankruptcy at the moment.
You are way further than we got.
When you touch down on the planet, there is a thing where your suit is not, for some reason, it's not winterized, so you have a temperature, a body temperature that's dropping.
Oh, so I played Lost Planet.
Yeah. And
I actually like Lost Planet.
the thing that pissed me off about that is that you need to get the winterized suit so you can proceed, but the suit you're in is space-worthy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Science tells us space is cold.
It is willing to withstand, it's able to withstand both the high and the extremely high and extremely low temperatures of deep space. Why do we need a winterized suit again?
Because I remember we had that discussion, and I was like, I don't know how cold this planet is, but I'm pretty sure space is colder.
Yeah, like, and their only context is that, oh, your suit got all fucked up when you crashed.
No, the only context is that Isaac is so fucking stupid he doesn't have his fucking helmet on.
Because they gotta take those helmets off for cinematic effects.
Oh, god damn
And he leaves the
it!
helmet off for the entire fucking chapter.
I remember that cinematic effect joke.
I was like, okay, you're cold. Put your fucking helmet on. Maybe they'll not be cold anymore. You know why? Because your suit is for deep fucking space travel.
Wasn't it like the beginning of the game where some guy, like, they take their helmets off and he's like, it's so cold,
Yep.
and it's like, put your helmet back on!
Yeah, basically.
You idiot!
It's like, you just have the glowing in the mouth, and I'll understand that you're talking. You don't need to do anything else.
Yeah, it was pretty dumb. But, I know I've managed to get up to about chapter 10. So, the other thing that really, like, aside from when the game turns into Call of Duty, when you have to go up against actual soldiers,
You
like,
say the weapons in the game are really fucking overpowered.
Yeah, they are.
yeah.
I have like one shotgun / plasma cutter combo that has that's had its damage maxed out since chapter 4. I have not needed to use literally anything else. I spent all of my tungsten on armor upgrades.
Yeah, that's the other thing that really puts me off about the game is simply the way weapon upgrades and weapon progression worked in that one as opposed to 1 and 2, to where, because, you know, Brandon, I know you have not played the first 2 games, but 1 and 2 essentially worked in the same way, much to akin of like Resident Evil 4 or hell, like even a Ratchet and Clank game, to where this is the gun.
You acquired gadgets over time.
Yes, and you get upgrades to this gun. You can't make any other changes to it. But in this game, to where it's like you can combine like 2 different fucking weapons, which was their way of compromising for the fact that you're only carrying 2 things now instead of 4.
Yeah.
But you can slap 2 guns together, and like one is the alt fire and one is the normal fire. But the thing of, I'm gonna make this one weapon and I'm gonna make it God, and now nothing can touch me. it's like it just loses the variety of being able to having to switch between different weapons and stuff. Because I liked it in the first 2 games where I have a plasma cutter, I have a flamethrower, I have a pulse rifle, and I have like a rocket launcher.
Yeah,
and, like having,
like I said, I have that one weapon that has its damage output maxed out for both fires, and I only have this other one that's okay if I need rapid fire relatively quickly, and I've only used it once since chapter 3.
Because essentially, I've been using the plasma cutter, which is what you get at the very start of the game.
Yeah,
Yep,
and then
you just put shiny parts on it, and you have a perfect weapon.
Yep, and then there's also a gun that I like to call the Shoemaker, because Brad Shoemaker from Giant Bomb kind of suggested this combo of a shotgun with a rocket launcher on it.
It's ingenious.
It works pretty much. Yeah, it works all the time.
Oh god.
So yeah,
and I think another thing is that I don't know if horror games ever will like this will actually work for me, because when I get an enemy ambush in Dead Space 3, I don't get scared, I get angry.
It does feel a little tedious.
It's like, come on, another one, really?
That's kind of a downfall, really, of horror games in general, is that the scares have to keep coming over an extended period of time.
Yeah.
I know,
but you also need a period of downtime so that you can get acclimated to the sense of everything is okay, so that when everything's no longer okay, you have this baseline of comparison that makes it scary.
Or like this sense of dread that, something could come out at you, but it may not happen, but it may happen.
Like, I'm pretty sure I told this in the last cast, but I was telling anyway. There was like a scene where my partner and I, we were walking through this dark corridor. And I was like, this is cool. They're building up tension. We're rising so that when an encounter does show up, we'll be surprised by it. And then they immediately after I finished saying that, a group of necromorphs attacked us. And I'm like, okay, never mind. Fuck this game. It does know nothing about tension. I don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah, just the other thing being the one thing that sticks out the most in Dead Space 3 is where you're trying to get the winterized suit and you got to go down in the basement and there are those real skinny dudes that were people, but they were eating the infected flesh. That's why they turned into that. Yeah, the real skinny ones. It's like, you can distract them by throwing something and making a noise. You can get past them,
or just shotgun them to death.
Yeah, basically.
That works too.
It's like they try to have this setup of like you could sneak past them, but it's not like ammunition was ever a problem, even on normal.
I routinely sell my spare ammo for scrap metal, and I have never run out. In fact, I have the opposite problem where I often have too much of it.
There's never really any variety of how to handle a situation. It's like, should I get around him? Should I try to run away? No, just murder everything.
Yeah, that's kind of like, that seems like where they built it like that, and they were like, oh wait, this is a shooter. Fuck.
Does Space Alligators show up? Spray and pray. Did Space Lobsters show up? Spray and pray.
Oh, dancing Space Lobsters.
You're good.
Yeah, like, who the fuck's gonna use different weapons between the two enemies? It's like, oh no, the necromorphs, I gotta take off their limbs. Oh no, real people. Anywhere. Just shoot
I mean, I am shitting on this game because it does deserve it, but I guess overall, it's meh.
Like, the problem is just the pedigree. The Dead Space is actually pretty great, and that's why people are so pissed.
It's not terrible, but it's really not that good. It's kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
Yeah, compared to the first 2 Dead Space games is where it really falls apart.
I would definitely need to go back to Dead Space 1 and see if it does still hold up, but I bet it does.
Yeah.
Probably because Isaac Clarke knew how to shut his fucking mouth in Dead Space 1. I don't like this character. I really don't.
He's better in Dead Space 2.
Yeah.
He doesn't really interact with people in 2. It's more just
Isaac Clarke in Dead Space 3 is a fucking tool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll really needs to shut his fucking mouth. And the co-op partner, I'm still not quite sure why they hate each other. I really am. I have no idea.
Because dude bros.
It's something about his family, but I don't think
I was like in chapter 10 with my partner. I'm sitting there like, dude, why does your character hate mine again? And he's like, I have no idea.
All I know is like his family's gone, but I don't think they're dead. I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, I wonder if part of this is just that we're playing co-op, but like the story it's not making any sense to me.
No.
It really isn't. And maybe, I don't know if it's just because I'm playing co-op or if it's just like the story in general just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just eager to see your reaction to the end of that game. And like Sam and I both actually have to finish it ourselves.
Cause I just got through the drill section the other day, the E3 demo.
Sorry, Dead Space puts me to sleep.
And I got killed by a set piece again in a way that was completely unfair. This game has a way. This game's set piece is a way of fucking up on me and causing deaths that really I don't deserve.
Dead Space.
So yeah, Chris, this is your topic. So I don't know why I'm ranting.
Yeah.
No,
Sorry,
feel
podcast
free
goes
because
so long.
oh god, that's
I don't like Dead Space 3. I want to make that perfectly clear. I don't like it.
Should I just go edit this and just replace it with that sentence? Be like, Dead Space 3. I don't like
I
Dead
don't
Space
like
3.
it.
Next topic.
Your mom will hate this game because it fucking sucks.
Your mom's like, play better games, noob. Get on my level, scrub. Thanks, Mom. I just love thinking about Mom going like that. Get on my level.
your mom wants you to play Dead Space 1 and 2 instead.
This game's fucking scary, jeez.
Yeah, Chris.
Oh
what did you do
god.
with your time this week?
What else did you do?
Yeah, that's actually really it.
I'm sorry.
Other than
Well, you
that,
played a good
that's
game.
pretty much. Do what?
I said you played a good game at least. You did play Shovel Knight.
Yeah, I did, and I saw Guardians of the Galaxy, which is super dope.
So did I. It's pretty good.
Yep.
Fucking Rocket is a sick character because I got in his comic
Yeah,
recently.
Oh yeah, he's got his own solo series, which he totally deserves. It's
Yeah, Rocket is
Fucking
just a cool
great.
character. Do you know if all the characters have their own thing, or at least does Star-Lord have his own comic, or is it just Rocket?
I think Rocket is the only one right now because everybody else is just in the mainstream Guardians of the Galaxy comic. It's
Yeah, that's what I figured. Rocket seems like the only one who can even hold his own as a character.
there was actually they did something last year where Iron Man was temporarily a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
How does that work?
He had a new suit of armor called the Phoenix armor.
Does it go in space?
Yep.
Cause space.
Space-ass
the
space.
only,
Which
the only
means that will
bullshit
probably
thing
be.
is
Which
that,
means his armor will probably go okay for Arctic conditions.
Yep. Give it to Isaac Clarke. He'll need it.
Should.
I think the only bullshit thing in that
Although
game.
it's also funny because I'm playing Dead Space 3 with the Mass Effect N7 armor.
Oh lol. Which we know from Mass Effect 1 that it can sustain cold temperatures
Yes.
if you visited shit.
And it is in the description. It says it's made by Cosplay Incorporated. So I choose to believe that when he's not fighting space lobsters, Isaac Clarke is a complete dork who goes to nerd conventions cosplaying as Commander Clark.
I just like to see him like at his apartment that he's at in Chapter 1. He's just hanging out playing Mass Effect 1, going like, I wish
This
I
is his
could be
favorite
as cool as
apartment in the
Shepard.
Citadel.
Yeah.
I just like to think that Isaac Clarke is just a huge like Shepard fan. He's like, I want to be Shepard one day. I wish I was as cool as him.
No. Isaac Clarke is Conrad Werner.
Oh god.
That's why Ellie left him because he wanted her to fucking put blue body paint on, and she was like, no.
It's like, come on, Clark, really? He's like, come on, just once. Just let me call you Liara. Or he just gives her a gas mask, and he's like, I want you to be just like her. He's like, no, Clark, god damn it! And then every once in a while he just calls her Ash. He's like, it's fucking Ellie, not
And you know
Ashley!
what? This story makes more sense than Dead Space 3.
Somebody who writes a comic should get on this. It's a free idea for you.
Yeah, basically.
This is free fan fiction we're giving you, folks.
Yeah, fanfiction TXT, get on that.
At the cost of nothing, except your dignity.
You're already writing fanfiction, so I think you're good. Anyway. So, Brandon, what'd you do?
Oh, like a Chargy said, I played a bit of. I was playing Injustice Week. I finished the campaign for it, and I thought it was pretty good. Honestly, I like the story of Injustice. I like its presentation. It's a pretty cool presentation.
So
I've never played the Mortal Kombat game, the new one, but if it's anything like that, that's a really cool way to present the story.
That's totally how Mortal Kombat 9 is like.
yeah, and I will say, like, one of the things about Injustice storyline is that it's not like you have to know every single fucking thing that goes on in DC Comics lore.
Oh,
If
Lord
you
knows I
have,
don't, but I felt.
yeah, if you have a basic understanding of of any of these characters, you'll be able to follow what's going on.
And the more esoteric elements, like who the fuck Ares is, can be easily they explain.
Yeah.
That's,
Well, yeah.
Generally, as far as I've seen, the only real knowledge you need to have is just like if you can hear the name and be like, I have a rough idea of who that person is, then you're pretty much good.
yeah. They don't really expect you to know much because a lot of these some of the characters, if you don't follow the comics, are kind of obscure.
Yeah.
Is everyone here?
Yeah.
I am. Sorry, I
Oh.
got dropped a minute.
I can hear it. Your audio quality is terrible.
Oh, shit.
It's better now.
Okay.
It gets better over time. Your connection is better.
All right.
But yeah, the Injustice stories line was actually like really good. I liked it. I thought like the whole super pills was kind of far fetched.
Yeah, because that was the big thing. I was wondering, is like, what was your opinion on super pills?
And when I reflect on the story as a whole, they didn't really need the super pills because Superman is defeated by the classic Superman in the end. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. It's this old.
So it's like there's no reason for people to worry about fighting Superman because Superman beat Superman, and I can plausibly believe that Superman defeated Superman.
Yep.
But Superman.
Yeah, I mean, it was that whole thing of like them justifying why Joker can be in a fight with someone like Doomsday or Superman, and it's
when
like
they never used that in the actual story, so there's no point for them to have it.
And like even before I knew about that stuff, I basically would have just accepted it as fucking fighting games.
Yeah, even then, like I can believe that Batman beat Green Lantern. That's not really that hard to explain away because he's fucking Batman and he's Hal Jordan, the most useless fucker in the planet.
It's true.
I still thought it was kind of funny when like Batman and Batman are talking to each other, like
Batman.
yeah,
Batman on Batman fighting.
And that's also one of the weird things. It was a lot. It's one of the things I thought was kind of lazy about it was that it was just some of the scenarios were just here's this Batman versus this Batman. Here's this Wonder Woman against this Wonder Woman.
It's
and
a
it's
mirror
so
match.
Yeah, it basically was.
Well, I mean, with that premise, they almost were required to at that point.
Kind of, yeah. And I mean, it's not like you had like the other versions of the supervillains showing up at all, except for because they kind of deal with those dudes in a scenario in the beginning, and then later on, like the only supervillains you see are the ones from that particular dimension.
But I did like when Superman crossed the moral event horizon once again by killing Shazam.
Yeah,
I thought that was a really cool turning point for the story.
That was weird. Like, it's this whole thing of like, and this is one of the reasons why, like, the more I thought of the story, the more it just didn't sit right with me. Is that like DC Comics writers just today, especially, just feel like Superman's a hard character to do, and it's like the only way to make him cool is like, it's like Superman is so easily corrupt.
Well, the thing is that for that was okay with me because this is not my Superman. This is not the one that I know and love, so I'm okay with him being a complete asshole.
Oh god, I just had a terrible thought. There are gonna be kids who grow up with Man of Steel, and that'll be the Superman they know.
Oh no.
That's a horrible life to live.
Turn this podcast off. I don't want to.
But yeah,
anymore.
I am completely okay with the Superman being a complete tosser because he's not my Superman. He's not the one that I care about, so fuck it.
I mean, because it's that whole thing of like, because I know you didn't read any of like the prequel comics that were coming out for Injustice.
No, I didn't.
Which illustrate the whole scenario that Joker tricked Superman into killing his own wife and unborn child,
and that caused a nuclear bomb to go off.
Yeah. Like, and then, killing that version of the Joker, although the other Joker totally shows up, and then, all that stuff. I thought the alternate universe stuff was kind of dumb because the comics just seemed like they were setting up for a much more, like, emotionally gripping story. And when the game comes out, it's like, no, it's just alternate universe stuff. So here's meat and potato versions of these characters versus, like, asshole versions of these characters,
Yeah, alternate universe is, like, just such a cop-out for story.
Yeah, I did like that when Harley Quinn is divorced from the Joker because the Joker is dead. She's basically completely a hero and will easily just side with Batman.
Well, and the thing about that was, like, in the comics, they kind of show, like, how she gets rather distraught the fact that Joker's been murdered, and now she hates Superman more than ever. And, like, if anything, she likes working with Batman because she can get back at the dude who murdered her fucking puddin'.
Puddin'.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do like how she's in this world. She's made to realize just how bad of an influence the Joker was on her
This was
through the
kind of
Lex
funny,
Luthor
like,
chapter.
the whole thing with the super pills, that was something that was more explored in the Injustice comic, to where like at one point Lobo shows up and Superman is basically telling Lobo, yeah, like because obviously you don't see obviously you don't see the DLC characters in like the main story mode, but in the comics they were able to use them, for various stuff. And Lobo shows up, and Superman hires Lobo to track down Harley because she's in hiding somewhere, and he does find her. And this was in the annual issue, which I'm not going to spoil too much of, but it does involve Harley getting the upper hand on Lobo, and it's actually really funny. So, yeah, just if you buy comics digitally, just look that up. And
Harley Quinn is tough.
yeah, she's pretty fucking badass in this,
Yeah.
but especially because she gets a super pill, and then because they all get super pills.
Everybody super pill, Oprah pill.
Even
You
though in
get
the
one,
actual
and you get
game that
one.
makes like no difference.
No, not really. It's like
If you wrote those pills out of the script, I don't think it would affect a single scene in the entire game.
Actually, the only part where it seemed to come up was where Joker swallows one, he gets shot at, and he's like,
Yeah.
I should be dead. Thanks, super pill, and then that's it.
Yeah,
Like,
I do remember that. That's as far as I got. Was literally
Okay,
the fight
and,
after
and you can easily write that to say that they missed.
yep.
that. Or just he got shot, and then Joker's just like, I'm fucking Joker. Like, what does it even matter?
Yep.
Well, remember,
They literally couldn't even change the line.
He goes
They could
on to
just-
kick the crap out of Hawkgirl and Nightwing right
I
afterwards.
mean, considering it's a fighting game, he could literally be shot and be like, I should be dead, and then just cut out the super pill line and be like, yep, you should be dead, but you're whatever, fighting games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it doesn't really change much.
Well, he does have the fourth wall breaking power, so that probably would work for him.
Are we talking about Deadpool now?
No, the Joker.
Dead
Remember
Joker?
that Joker has super insanity.
Joker pull?
I've never thought of Joker as being like fourth wall break character, but
But I mean, you could easily explain it.
possibly.
I did like the twist that the Nightwing in this one is Damian Wayne and not Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
That was.
'Cause-
I wonder if that was just considering the time that New 52 was coming out.
It's not like it's something that's ever really happened. Like there was one thing in DC Comics where they did like an alternate timeline thing where like Damian grows up to be the next Batman, but considering that Damian as a kid is dead.
I was gonna say, isn't he dead now?
Yeah, he died. Yeah, he died
It's
like
just-
I think last year, if not like year before,
I just
sometime
find
around
that
there.
so hilarious.
But
and
yeah,
sad.
in
It's
this
like, let's introduce a new
continuity, Damian
character in New
Wayne-
52, and then he's dead within like 100 issues. It's like, fuck, bro.
Well, actually, Damian showed up before New 52.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Grant Morrison introduced him.
So he's
During
like
that-
part of the main series.
Is he the fourth Robin?
Yeah, fifth. Fourth.
Fifth.
Fifth.
Yes.
Fifth.
Fuck. Dick Grayson. Todd? Because
Yeah,
Jason Todd.
Jason Todd. He's dead.
No, he's
third-
not. He's alive.
Oh, god damn, he's not dead. I thought he got crowbarred.
Wasn't he the guy that like became
He
the
became the-
Joker in the Batman Beyond movie?
No. That's
Oh,
Tim
wait,
Drake.
no, wasn't he not dead because he's in.
Oh, right, Tim
he's in-
Drake.
Isn't he the Red Hood? In the
Yeah,
movie, the
yeah,
animated film,
so-
The Red Hood?
Yeah, Jason Todd is Red Hood.
Right, he didn't die, and then, yeah. And then you have the third guy. What was his name again? Tim Drake?
Tim Drake.
Tim Drake.
Yes. I remember that from War Drums, which was the first Batman, like, big thing I read. Yes. And then the fourth one is a girl, if I remember correctly?
Stephanie Brown.
Okay, and then we have Damien. 5.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah, I did like the twist that Damian Wayne killed Dick Grayson in this world.
Yeah,
and took Nightwing.
that was another thing they actually showed in comics. That event happening was he kind of killed him by accident.
I was gonna say, why would he
But
kill
it's-
him? Was he evil?
Well,
And
it-
Batman
it's-
completely disowned him after that.
it was kind of basically like the thing of, because the whole thing in Injustice is that the whole rift between Batman and Superman, because Superman, he basically slowly goes from I want to bring peace to the world by ending all war and conflict, and Batman saying you're going about it the wrong way. And Superman, like, after he murders the Joker, he starts going on a spree of, like, let's get rid of everybody in fucking Arkham Asylum. And
That's where Batman
Of
draws the
course.
line.
Yeah, and of course, like Batman's like, you totally shouldn't be killing anybody, and Damian's like, no, Superman's totally right.
What?
So, yeah, that's kind of because Damian when he was introduced, he was all about killing dudes, and then Batman kind of had to rope him in and say, no, that's totally not cool. But
Hasn't he done, like every Robin?
What?
Well,
Like the whole like
I don't
kill
think Dick
people?
Grayson had that issue, nor Tim Drake, nor Jason Todd.
No.
Well, Todd did technically as the Red Hood, he did, because he was like, you should kill people, and then Batman had that whole speech where he was like, I could just kill people and it'd be so easy. He's like, it's
But not
hard
when he
not
was
to
Robin.
kill them. Yeah, as Robin,
You know-
yeah, you're right. I was thinking of Red Hood was the problem. Like,
Yeah,
which
but
was
like
after
Damian-
it broke.
Like Damian, he was raised by assassins, so of course he thinks like the only way you give out justice is that you kill people. So yeah, he was totally with Superman, but so it kind of and the fact that he accidentally kills Nightwing and like this big jailbreak at Gotham, like that happens, like he throws his stick, and it hits Dick Grayson in the temple, like and he falls over and breaks his neck on a rock, like.
I'm sorry, that's the way you describe it. That sounds a bit dumb.
I
hit a rock and I'm
that sounds
dead.
almost
It's
comically absurd.
That sounds like scary movie levels of stupidity.
It sounds stupid, but it was a lot more
I'm sure
dramatic.
they made
in
it
the way-
really dramatic the way they did it. It's not like a pebble we're talking about. It's like,
No.
a rock. Yeah, so I get
The
that.
fact of it being that like it was an accident, and
And then Batman completely disowned him after that.
pretty much yeah.
And-
But Superman was totally like, "Hey, you're all right."
Because you kill people.
Well, not because still just
Because Dick Grayson was someone who would probably have sided with Batman.
Because Dick Grayson's the fucking shit, man.
I still remember at the. This is a little bit of a spoiler, but there's one point where the first run of Injustice comics, because they've been doing like Injustice Year 1 and Injustice Year 2, which is what they're on currently. And at the end of the first run of where Batman gets the super pill and like he tries to synthesize it to make more of it, and like Superman shows up and yeah, he fucking beats the shit out of Batman. Alfred takes the super pill and fucking schools Superman. Like just it was kind
It's
of funny.
always implied that Alfred could kick anyone's ass if he chose to. It's
Yeah,
always been
'cause-
implied.
Yeah, but the thing
Alfred
was,
is a super
Alfred
DLC
took a
character.
Yeah.
Alfred took a super pill, and then beat the shit out of like he. Well, I wouldn't say he beat the shit out of Superman, but he fucking schooled him, and then and then got
fucking
Batman to
left.
safety. But yeah, Justice.
Yeah, it's a video game.
Yeah, and going to the combat of Injustice, I personally, I know this is a NetherRealm thing, and I've learned that as I've gone on, but it feels like the combat's kind of rigid.
Yeah, it's
It's
a
like
little
Mortal
bit
Kombat, from what I remember.
Yeah.
So, yes.
it's not
very
as
direct.
fluid.
Yeah, because I'm used to playing games like Soul Calibur and Persona 4 Arena where the combat kind of flows.
Yeah, that's also kind of like an Arc Systems thing, compared to...
Yeah.
Like, you play
Yeah.
BlazBlue, it's like that, too, compared to
And
Street
Project
Fighter.
Soul with Soul Calibur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Street Fighter is also pretty rigid. It has that very same feel to me.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
it does. I've played a bit of Street Fighter. It does feel about as rigid. It's like things that should hit clearly aren't hitting. It's like, come on. But yeah, that's kind of a subjective thing, so I'm not going to fault the game too much for that. Aside from that, I was playing, speaking of DC, I was playing Batman Arkham Origins.
Oh, yeah. I beat
'Cause I had
that
just
a long
bought
time
it.
ago.
Because I had gotten that for $840 on PSN.
What do you
And
think?
I haven't gotten very far. I like just got past Penguin, like the Deathstroke boss fight.
You got past Nolan North?
Yeah,
It's Nolan North.
so I'm really not far. But from what I've played through, it seems to be about the same old Arkham.
Yeah.
Like, because I've been touring the map, it feels like the exact same map from Arkham City.
Yeah, except snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, except in a snowstorm, but I'm pretty sure because I recognize a lot of the landmarks from Arkham City.
Sure, it's similar assets.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big problem I have with it, and it was pretty in line with like reviews and such, is just it's a good game, but it's another Batman Arkham game, and it's kind of like
Yeah,
Arkham City
like-
felt
And
like
I mean,
done to me. Like,
I
was
like
pretty
the
done with
Arkham
that game.
games, but this does feel like kind of they were going through the motions, and the thing is, I don't really fault the developers for that, and the reason is that they had to live up to Rocksteady, they had to, and honestly, that didn't give them a whole lot of leeway on what to do.
Plus, Rocksteady left with only 2, which is they were on the downhill when they left. They were pretty much at the peak.
And they also had to somehow do something that was at the level of killing the Joker.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, which is why they did a prequel of, here's where he meets the Joker. Like,
yeah. I mean, like, the thing is, like, once you kill the Joker, how do you top that?
I would be interested to see a world after the Joker, which would really bum
like in
me out.
Arkham Knight. Yeah, I'm interested in seeing how they handle a post-Joker era of Gotham in Arkham Knight.
Most importantly, just like a Batman killed someone post-era.
Because even Warner Brothers, I think they looked at, like, because I don't know how well Arkham Origins
technically,
did not do.
Batman didn't kill the Joker. In a way, the Joker committed suicide.
Yeah.
But the point is, like, Batman doesn't let people die. Like,
yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah. But like, I don't know how well Arkham Origins did or did not do. I know it was like they did DLC and then all that shit. But Arkham Knight, it's like, okay, get Rocksteady back in here, get Kevin Conroy back in here.
And I will say that the voice actor that took Kevin Conroy's place for this is not bad. I mean, he sounds similar enough that you can believe this is young Batman.
Yeah, it's good. It's just Kevin Conroy. It's like the Rocksteady thing, where it's like it's a good game, but Kevin Conroy set the bar so high.
Yeah, it's like this guy is
damn near perfect.
This guy does a decent impression of Kevin Conroy's Batman.
There's a reason, like
just like how from what I've seen, Troy Baker does a really good impression of Mark Hamill's the Joker.
Yeah,
yeah,
but it's not Mark Hamill. That's kind of the
funny.
They're very good. They're just not perfect, which is what I think that Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy were.
It's that whole thing of like
the whole game is kind of like this off-brand of Arkham.
Yeah, it's they were the B team, you know, kind of like how
even the villains
like
shows
people
are.
It's kind of like how they used to think of Call of Duty, you know, like, oh, and here's the Infinity Ward game, and here's the.
And I mean, I don't mean for that to sound insulting because they still did a fairly good job of copying what Rocksteady did really well. I don't mean this to sound insulting, but it kind of is. It's like they did it okay.
Yeah. It's just we came to expect better from that.
Yeah.
And they didn't set the bar any higher like Arkham City
I can't
did.
fault the developers for it because they had a really big shoes to fill.
Yeah, their arms were fucking twisted.
Warner Brothers put them in a really hard place.
Yep.
And I'm sure some of them are excited to work on a Batman Arkham game. It's just like I said.
To their credit, the game does when you play it. It feels good.
I think also there's the secondary problem if it was a little too much too soon. Like if this game had never come out and then Arkham Knight was coming out, I'd be like, oh man, new Batman. It's been a good while since I played a Batman with the great combat and all that. And it's like since I just played Origins a few months ago, I'm like, I don't know.
The old Adam Sessler quote: "I can't miss you if you don't go away."
Yeah. I'm trying to see what the time gap is here between like the releases of this. Like, okay, like
it was a year.
like Arkham
might be 2.
Like Arkham City came out in 2011, and Arkham Origins was last year.
Yeah.
So there was at least a 2-year gap.
So it shouldn't feel like it's. Yeah, it felt like it was a decent length of time, even though I guess it.
For a game like that, I want longer. Shooters are like the only thing I can take so fast, really.
Although I do think that if they hadn't have released Origins, Arkham Knight would feel a lot stronger than it does.
Yeah,
possibly.
I would be way more excited because it would have been a while since I played a good Batman game.
Although
and plus,
Arkham
there's
Knight...
also the fact that we've had Batman-esque games tide us over, like Sleeping Dogs.
And also, I mean, it's just like we've also known that Arkham Knight was coming for a while. Like even when Origins was being developed, Kevin Conroy had accidentally leaked that he was working on a Batman game at the time.
Yeah, they were.
So before we knew about it, we already kind of knew about it.
Yeah, but I mean, like Arkham Knight, you know, now it's like because with the last 3 games, you do kind of feel like maybe they were pushing like 360 and PS3 hardware to their limits.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what really more could they do with this? Now with like next gen hardware, they've got now we got the Batmobile, and so I don't know. it'll be interesting to see what they do.
And I will say that it's interesting to see a Batman who clearly has all the abilities that Batman has, but without the refinement that Kevin Conroy's Batman has, because he's still kind of raw.
Yeah, that's probably the best thing about it, is that he is not as disciplined as he is later on.
He has all of the training and all the skills. He just needs to learn how to refine his techniques.
Yeah,
and that's pretty interesting.
It's a cool game if you want another Batman game. It's a great game, but it's just I didn't want another Batman game at the time, and I played it anyway because I was like, I got it for free.
Like I said, it's $8.50. It was $8.50 on PSN when I bought it, and I've been interested in playing it for a while, so I had to take the plunge.
I got it for free for Christmas with my graphics card, along with Assassin's Creed 4 and Splinter Cell Blacklist.
I have that game on my Steam account. I've yet to download it because I got like that and like all of the DLC for like a little under $20. So
of Black Flag?
Of
Batman.
Arkham Origins.
Arkham Origins.
Not talking Assassin's Creed. That's old. Talking about new Assassin's Creed.
But aside from those games that I've been playing, I also bought the Transistor soundtrack this week because it was on sale.
Oh shit!
You're gonna listen to the Spine and
it was a good time to buy too, because they had just decided to update the soundtrack with the hummed versions of all the music.
Oh shit! I gotta go check that again. I wonder if they ever put out the robot version of In Circles.
I think they did actually.
Yeah, somebody uploaded to YouTube, and then I'm pretty sure somebody contacted Supergiant and was like, "Hey,
yeah.
can you put this?"
The ones didn't have hummed versions. They brought some of the ones like the Vanishing Point, the robotic one, and In Circles, the robotic one. Yeah, those are on the extended soundtrack as well.
Sweet. So I guess if I just go to my Steam or the game should be there.
Yeah, so pretty much like all of the really great songs are there, and it's a blast to listen to that soundtrack again, because again, Supergiant does amazing work with their music.
It is
Darren
Korb is the name of the guy who does music for them.
Yeah, and the vocalist is Ashley Barrett.
Yep, they are both great. Shout out.
And I stopped playing Marvel Puzzle Quest this week.
You finally gave up?
Forever.
Never again.
Yeah, it
Hey Brandon, what's that notification I see right now? It says Brandon Carey is playing Marvel Puzzle Quest on Steam.
You lying sack of shit.
That happened the other day when he said that. You announced it on Twitter,
the
and then I immediately saw that come up.
The thing is that the reason I was on the game after I said that is that Marvel Puzzle Quest added a feature, little in called Alliances, where you have groups of players going together to work together towards a goal. And so I was dropping out of the alliance that I was in, so that they have room for someone else who actually gives a shit about the game now. And that was part of the reason I quit, because it was getting really hard to compete, because I work a lot more than I used to, and by that I mean I work.
Yeah, I'm starting 30 hours in a week.
And I just didn't have the time to dedicate several hours a day to maintaining a leaderboard post on a fucking free-to-play game, and I honestly stopped caring at some point.
You're just like, this is what my life has come to, and I
was like, you know what? I'd rather just play more Arkham Origins in my free time than go play more Marvel Puzzle Quest. So, done. And there was also a bunch of drama that was going on with the game that I didn't give a shit about. So I just like
free-to-play bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like there were people in our alliance that quit recently, and they joined one of the top tier alliances right afterwards. Like, dude, congratulations for you, but just remember, you're the top tier alliance of a free to play game.
Yeah,
that's
basically
not exactly a marketable skill.
Hey,
are the best.
I'll have you
with
know, I was in the top alliance for Marvel Puzzle Quest, and yes, I would like to work at CERN now. Oh, of course. Yeah, great skills.
So yeah, that kind of shit combined with the fact that I just wasn't able to compete anymore meant that there was like no incentive for me to play any further. So I just stopped.
Well, you know, Brandon.
You know.
Since you're no longer playing that, maybe you could try out Marvel Heroes 2015.
No.
Because I'm trying it. I'll be just like Jeff Gerstmann and sink 100 hours into it.
I'm okay with just opening up my smartphone and playing a game of solitaire. Honestly.
No, man, you gotta play fucking threes. I played a lot of
Fuck
threes.
both of you. I play Doodle Chomp.
I played... Dude, that's fucking classic, man.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's like iPhone 3G era.
I guess the last thing I should talk about is that I finished the Legend of Spiral LP I talked about before, and that game is sufficiently mediocre.
Yeah, no reason to give a shit about that.
And I guess like if we want to talk about one more thing is that I saw Twitch's new thing that they were putting in there.
Yeah, this was something I think we should get into. This,
And I don't know if you guys want to talk about it, but I kind of do.
I mean, sure, if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it.
It's bullshit.
Yeah.
yeah, so
I mean, from a business side, I get it, but we should probably also explain
The-
what it is for
I
those who
think-
don't know.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, the buyout from Google to Twitch
For
eventually
$1 billion.
went through. So Google now owns Twitch via YouTube.
yeah, because initially Justin.tv was the original holder of this, but they went under.
Yeah.
They have ceased to be, and
I didn't know
Twitch now Twitch, they are now owned by Google. And yeah, there's some really crummy stuff going on. Like
They
Like-
instituted a new audio copyright detection system.
Which I imagine
Wherein-
is the same engine that runs on YouTube by the sounds
pretty
of it.
much.
Likely. And the way it works is that it will scan through the recordings of streams. It won't actually scan through streams that are happening live
Right.
yet.
Yes.
And if it detects copyrighted sounds like music or specific game sounds or whatever, it will mute that portion of the recording.
Right. And this is, it may sound a little weird until you realize that there are a lot of streamers, and I noticed this for a Smite developer the other week, is that they'll generally just put on music playlists while they play a game. So, you'll
Yeah.
just, like, in the background, you'll hear, like, someone playing 311 or, Linkin Park or some shit. So,
Yeah.
And
yeah.
this is such a big issue that when the same day they put it up, the system muted their own broadcast, like Twitch's own official broadcast.
Yes. I also saw tweets from Iron Galaxy, which is Dave Lang's company, and they have a game called Dive Kick, and apparently it muted them from their own account. Like, the Dive Kick developer Iron Galaxy Twitch channel got themselves muted by their own music that they made.
That's
Wow.
Which sounds like the YouTube problem of, like, I'm the developer of this game, yet it cannot tell that I'm a developer and I own this music. It still flags it.
As
It's-
well as
amazing.
yeah, as well as the other big thing, like they kind of made changes to like how archive videos worked to where they were going to start deleting stuff that is like so old, and like if you're a free member, as well
I
as
believe it
like
was
now
for
you
Turbo
can,
as well. Unless you're
Yeah.
talking about until they changed it just the other day.
And one thing I should point out is that this gives YouTube and Google a very uncomfortable monopoly on online content.
yeah.
No, totally.
Like,
but yeah,
because YouTube already commands a very, very big share of all of the internet's cat videos.
yeah, it's pretty much that and Vimeo, which I know a lot of people who use that now. I know a couple of
You know.
companies that do.
YouTube, where this very fucking podcast is located.
We should
This
just move to Vimeo.
Yeah.
That's
And the
that's
thing is that you really
Operating
can't
account.
escape YouTube if you want to view content. If you want to view like any content on the internet, you're probably going to view a YouTube video.
And that's
There's-
the thing, is that, like, I know
Man.
some people who do, like, Blip, and I do know some Vimeo and stuff like that, but it's not all the same. Like, they don't upload to both of them. So
No.
it's not, if everybody uploaded to every site, which would be a pain in their ass, then I could just go to Vimeo or something and be like, I'm just going to say, fuck off YouTube. But they don't
I
do that.
think I
Yeah,
think
YouTube,
one of the
YouTube commands the majority of internet content.
And
It's
one
just the
of-
way it works.
Doesn't help that next-gen consoles also upload to YouTube, and lots of games upload to YouTube.
yeah.
And
like,
that happened because Google already commanded that monopoly.
well, I mean, the other thing, I mean, one exception to that, like Sam, I know you kind of mentioned how some people don't upload to both. I mean, some still do. Like
Yeah.
Giant Bomb still kind of does that, despite the fact that they have their
Spoonie
own
Experiment
website.
does, I know.
Despite the fact they have their own website where they can just host their videos. Like Giant Bomb doesn't need that YouTube channel, but they've put it up there.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
it gets views. I think Jeff talked about it once, where he says it gets basically nothing compared to their site views, but they do it anyway.
Yeah,
Probably just for people
absolutely.
who just use YouTube or maybe have problems with their website or something.
I think the big thing, like if people want it on YouTube, it's probably for like mobile users.
Yes, Giant Bomb does have an
Because-
unofficial
Yeah.
app, but YouTube's a lot easier.
Yeah. But the same thing goes for like Super Best Friends. Like they launched their website like not long ago,
About a week or two?
and
think.
Yeah, super best friends. Like they launched their own websites. Their videos don't use YouTube, with a few exceptions. Like some of their older stuff. Like if you try to look at, like some of the farther backlog,
It's probably their
they still have like
stuff.
yeah, like they still have like YouTube videos. But other than that, like all of their like recent LPs and stuff, it's all of like whatever their
Built
unique
in.
video player is on their website on WordPress.
Yeah.
So, and they still upload to YouTube, but it's one of those things of, like, I remember Matt made that announcement video, and he was basically saying how, like, it's kind of bullshit how they have this copyright stuff. Now that they have a website, they kind of
and they end all their episodes with that now.
Yeah, like, they kind of don't have to worry about that.
Which just sounds like the reason they'll say, like, you know, Giant
If
Bomb
you're an internet user, and I know I am, you probably use YouTube.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, I think that's the part that I think is great. It's just like the copyright shit that's going on is total bullshit, and I'm really glad that they decided to go that route because I'd rather visit their site where they can upload whatever they want. Plus, you have the added benefit of YouTube. They recently did a 60 FPS, but their bit rate actually sucks ass, to my understanding. So if you want, like Giant Bomb, they record in 720p, but their videos are way better looking than an average YouTube 1080 video. So if it's the same two best friends, it's like you can get better quality videos too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like
YouTube has kind of been sucking ever since Google took over.
Yeah, it's one of those things like, again, going back to Matt's announcement video, like, do you hate YouTube changing their layout all the time?
Yes.
Well, come to our website. And they have a
remember
that
that stint when Google forced you to use Google Plus for YouTube comments?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Remember how no one liked Google Plus and no one still to this day likes
Total
Google
Biscuit
Plus?
to this day will not unlock comments. Neither will Dan Nerdcubed. Two popular YouTube guys, over 1 million subscribers.
I think Total Biscuit still has locked his comments down.
No, they both have. Yeah, Total Biscuit. I've checked. Except he doesn't do it where they're not disabled. They're just on check, and he said before, he's like, I don't ever check them because he loses it just so he can post his own update comments.
Yeah. Yeah, but like,
also comments are a cesspool of ignorance.
Like, yeah, like I am one of those people. Like, if I can watch some of the stuff elsewhere, I totally will.
Yeah.
Anytime.
I remember when there was a huge fervor over Anita Sarkeesian censoring her YouTube comments. Well, not censoring, but like not putting them on. And I remember I was originally on the side where it was bullshit, but when I thought about it, when I truly sat down and thought about it, I realized I should be thanking her for that.
Have you seen the kind of letters that woman gets?
Yes.
Like, I don't care what she does. These people
like,
are
quite
just nasty.
frankly, in hindsight, if she's blocking YouTube comments, you should say thank you.
Yep.
Pretty
it's
much.
For your help.
It's as much for your health as it is for hers.
YouTube is just kind of a pile of shit. You want to just start a Vimeo channel or something, or just get a built-in Flash player for my website? Just something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I will legitimately look into Vimeo and see what's been up with that.
If we could find a way just to like record an MP3, that would also be great. I'll have it use fucking SoundCloud.
Oh, you could.
No.
I was gonna say without SoundCloud, I mean, I could figure something out. I could just upload it to my site directly. It's not great, but it works.
Give us your suggestions in the comments.
Yeah,
SoundCloud
all
was not
20
a
of
great
you
deal.
who actually listen to this video.
Except that, I don't fucking know. YouTube's bullshit. And
Yeah,
then
it's-
there's also the thing. which we
YouTube
didn't-
is bullshit, says the people who have this podcast on YouTube.
not by choice. But the
Yeah,
other thing that
legitimately, the reason this is on YouTube is because it was literally the easiest thing to do.
it's like, I don't know. I will literally put them on
For all
Vimeo.
of YouTube's fault, it is relatively easy to post shit onto it.
I would be surprised as fuck, and it would be hilarious if I start posting these on Vimeo and they get more views there.
That would be great.
I'll start doing that. But we didn't even talk about the secondary. No, we didn't even talk about the secondary problem with the VODs. We kind of touched upon it, but you used to be able to save videos on demand, which are just your archive streams forever if you highlighted it. And then they basically said you can't do that anymore. It only saves for 90 days at the max.
Yeah, which is a really big pain in the ass for anybody who follows like Speed Demon Archives. Like, holy shit! Like that's gotta suck dick so bad.
So you know what was funny that came out of it though? Did you guys hear about people trying to upload to YouTube the other day? Because it was 2 days ago now. It basically broke YouTube's processing over its knee Like, I had a whole bunch of YouTubers, at least 5.
Well, of course, because they want to save those videos.
Yeah, like, I know a bunch of people who streamed. There was, like, Peanut Butter Gamer, John Tron, X Factor Gaming, Jack Frags, Level Cat, Matimio, and I could just keep going. And all of them post on Twitter, I can't upload today. Game Grumps had an announcement that was like, we have never missed a video in our lives per day, and we can't because YouTube will not process this video. Because everyone was uploading all this shit from Twitch.
Like, holy shit.
And
yeah,
like, if you managed to
maybe that was a bad idea for Google to do that.
You think that Google would look at that and be like, maybe this wasn't our best idea?
No.
I mean, also, if Twitch is owned by Google, you figure that server space would be less of a problem.
You just like
because
think
Google
the
buys more servers than
together
anybody.
Then.
Yeah, you think it would be less of an issue if Google's like, let's just donate a couple of million servers at no cost to us.
Or even better, they could look at there was recordings and just like have a plugin you can watch the same recording on YouTube.
It's insane.
It does kind of get into the thing of you wonder how long some of this shit can be stored, but I don't know. Like
Google, out of anybody, should
Google.
have more servers.
They have
Yeah.
more than
that
Microsoft.
has everything in the internet on it.
basically,
Think of all the cat videos on those things.
like you
Google
consider like
owns the internet.
yeah, they basically are like the biggest entity when it comes to the internet. So if anybody could do it, it's them.
Yeah, that's what makes it really weird. But I think they recently came back on that, and they said if you do highlight the whole thing, because it used to be you could only highlight certain amounts of time.
Yeah, they basically said
if you can highlight the
we
whole
all
thing,
used
you
to
can
love
technically keep
Google.
it. Yeah, that was before.
yeah, they basically said you could highlight like up to 2 hours now, which is
You remember
Yeah.
those ages when we used to all think Google was the best thing ever, and then shit like this happened?
I think
Pretty much.
parts of Google are still great. Like I have an Android phone. I love the Android team, but that's only
Yeah.
a subset of Google. As a whole
Yeah.
company, I don't think they're great anymore because they've gotten a little tyrannical with their monopoly.
Yeah, they have a really fierce control over pretty much like anything you do on the internet. Google has some hand in it at this point.
Yeah, I mean between Google Chrome, Google Web Search, Google Plus, YouTube, Twitch. Somebody recently made a wallpaper on the paper wall the day that happened. It just listed all the companies that YouTube had, and it just says, "Please don't be evil." And it was like 50 companies that they own. They're all just really random shit.
It's really astounding how much they control.
Yeah, if you actually look at the amount of
And,
companies they own.
and
it's
I
crazy.
know that some people will think I'm being a bit paranoid, and honestly, I kind of am when I say that, but
It could be worse, but we have yet to see how bad it could be.
I mean,
Yeah.
if it's rarely ever a good idea for one group to have that much influence. It's
But then
rarely
again-
ever a good
yeah,
idea.
yeah, basically. But who knows? Maybe if they take over the world, it might not be so bad. Like,
Yeah, better.
I mean, yeah, I'm just saying, I that is probably the paranoid rantings of some conspiracy lunatic.
I mean,
But
as far as right now, it could be a lot worse. Google is,
Yes.
at least from what I can tell, a relatively nice company run by nice people, but you never know what happens when you get monopolies, because then there's nobody to say no. No one
Yeah,
say, "I can
there's
do
no
better."
one to check that.
people used to say the same things about Electronic Arts.
Yeah, because they were founded.
yeah, and
aggregation.
look how far they've come. They have
Who
great
the
service.
fuck was it that I don't remember who it was? Somebody made a video about EA. Oh, it was Extra Credits, and they had the quote when EA first formed about what they were
Yes.
about. And I was
I
like,
love
man, you
that
guys
quote.
fell so far from that.
Yep,
And Google's
and
gonna-
fucking Activision. Remember how awesome they used to be?
Oh god, I
No.
forgot Activision. Where did they split off from? I forget.
They split off from Atari, like back in the
Atari.
day. Like,
Right, and they had the same problem where it's like Atari's tyrannical. We're gonna make
Do you
our
ever
own
get the
company.
impression that all of only like a few groups control each major industry? Like, there's only a couple of really big gaming corporations. There's only a couple of real big internet corporations. Only a couple of really big X corporations. Like, it feels like there's less choice than there should be.
I mean, it's kind of that thing of some people would argue that that's kind of how business works, to where like the businesses that do well, they get to stay and they get to grow. The businesses that don't, they fail and they go away.
Yeah, what are you, Brandon? Some kind of
Still, at the
socialist?
same time, it feels like there should be more choice than there is.
I mean, I
I
would
totally
argue there should
agree
be more
with
choice
that.
for anything in the world.
In a
Like,
truly capitalistic society, there should be more choice
I
than
totally
this.
agree with that, but
I wish that Origin was better because I
Like,
want
I
somebody
should
to
have
rival
more
Steam.
choice than Coke or Pepsi.
No, you shouldn't because you choose Coke.
I want RC Cola.
No, you don't. I
Fuck
tried.
you.
Fuck, nobody wants fucking RC
No,
Cola.
no one knows RC
No.
Cola.
I had an RC Cola once. I was like, you drank this shit?
Cream soda is my thing.
I still
Cream soda is my thing.
I random tangent. I still remember this old Family Guy joke from, I think it was from that like DVD movie they had of like Stewie Griffin, The Untold Story,
Yeah.
where like Stewie and Brian are lost in a fucking
Yep,
desert.
Yep.
And they're like, "Oh man, look, a Dr. Pepper machine!" And they get up there, and it's like, "Oh no, it's an RC Cola machine."
And then just walk past it, even though they're still like dying. Like, yep, that's about how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's
Well,
the thing,
that would
man,
have
like,
be bad desert because that would make you piss.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, though, it's like, competition, at least as far as I've seen, I always wanted to say this, but I feel like somebody's going to counteract me, is as far as I understand, competition has never been a bad thing for companies. So that's why...
Very rarely is it ever a bad
So
thing.
it's funny that like, people bitch about Uplay, and I'm like, I wish Uplay was good. I wish Origin had a really good store, so that somebody
This
could
is not
fucking
really-
talk to Steam and be like, I want to do better than you, and Steam will be like,
This is
alright.
not really conspiracy theory. This is just kind of like an empirical fact. Corporations, when it comes to competition, they don't want it.
Well, yeah, nobody wants
No,
They want
because
control.
it forces them to do stuff in service to people.
Well, it
because
forces
when
them to do
companies
better for less.
Yeah, because when companies have to compete against each other, people win.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
only for the consumer's benefit.
And it's not really. That's not really a conspiracy theory. It's just kind of like an empirical fact.
No, I mean, look at ISPs in Korea. Do you know how much data you can get? Like, it was like
Versus
What was it?
ISPs in America that have monopolies on specific areas.
they have
Mhm,
regional
mhm.
monopolies. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I think I read up on it because I knew a guy who lived in Korea for a while. I used to talk to him, and he was called Anime Man 59 on my TeamSpeak.
So,
Yeah, but it was funny. He was
This is
talking
not
about how
really political.
you could get like 50 megabits down for like a couple bucks a month. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, no, it's like $100 a month will get you like hundreds of megs down. And I'm like, you fucking kidding me? And he's like, yeah.
Well, part of it in the U.S. is that we have this terrible infrastructure because once again, there's no real reason to upgrade the infrastructure
Yeah.
because the companies don't really benefit from doing that.
No, again, it would be only for consumers' benefit because people are already paying for it because people don't go without internet. We just don't do that.
This has become a weirdly political discussion, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's
Pretty
Dan
much.
Carlin's common sense.
we totally need to stop.
No, we need to talk more about politics. Let's talk about religion while we're at it. Make Ben Franklin proud.
Let's talk about guns.
Okay. I like guns.
Let us not do that.
Let's talk about
No,
God. Let's talk
let's totally
about
not do
God.
that.
How do you feel about God? There goes the religion
I don't-
train.
There
Yeah,
goes the religion
basically.
train.
Yeah, basically.
We're a video game podcast, right?
Yeah, we
What?
should stop.
I feel like I
Yeah.
should edit all this out.
And anyway,
out,
my
like, 40
turn's done. Sam, what the fuck have you been doing with your time lately?
Playing Trials. God damn it.
What
Which
kind of
trials?
trials have you been enduring?
It's fucking 207 faults. Hold on, 208 faults. Bunny hop. Wait for it. 209 faults. I haven't played Trials Fusion, the most recent one, because I don't know why, where it's like, a friend of mine told me we were going to see Guardians of the Galaxy. I had an hour left. And for whatever reason, I just bought Trials on the spot, and I was like, why the fuck did I just buy Trials for $20? Like, I don't even know what happened. And I came home, I started playing it, and it's a fun game, but it's also Trials.
You should play sequel Tribulations.
God damn it.
Oh, Jesus.
But that's kind of the main problem I have with it. I've already technically beaten it. I'm on the expert tracks, but they roll credits and all that, and I don't, me and Brandon had
You were
discussion.
bad mouthing that game on Twitter, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, because, like, we've had a discussion on game length before, and, price and
Yes.
game length, but this game is $20, and I got through it in 3 hours, and without having to do retrials because you have to get a certain amount of medals to get to the final set, without that, it took me 2 hours. It's $20 worth of content.
Yeah.
And there's a DLC pack that's another $20.
No, like I said, I'm okay with games being short, but that might just not be the right value proposition.
I mean, I feel like the older trials were longer, but maybe it's just because I didn't know what the games were like back then, and as like a more experienced person, I just blew through everything up to hard.
I mean, it also depends on the quality of those 2 hours as well.
They were a good 2 hours, except one of the it does the cardinal sin of video games to me, which is you have to collect X amount of things where you can advance. So in this case, it's like, get 110 medals to unlock this track. And I'm like, dude, like, can I not just play all the tracks, really? Do I really have to do better on all of these and have to replay them over and over?
Yeah,
Like
I
how an
remember
open
that.
world game where you need to have X reputation to get to the next mission.
That's probably the worst thing going for Trials at this point, is the collecting medals to get the last tracks.
Yep. I don't know, but there was something addictive about those games too, like especially
Why do you
when
think I'm still sitting here? 237 faults on the same jump.
not for the reason of I'm grinding this so I can get more
Fucking
medals open at the other stages, but like there really was also kind of a score attack kind of
Oh yeah.
mentality to it of I want to do better than the pupils on my friends list. Like it
I've only
had
had
that
friends.
going for it as well.
I don't have friends though, that's the problem.
You're friendless.
Yep. I'm trying to think of other things to say, like the FMX stuff is kind of whatever, like I'm not really a huge fan. It's the trick-based thing. Because it uses the right analog stick. And it's still fun. I don't really think it's worth $20 just because, again, you know, like, I played short games for the same price, but I felt kind of cheated, especially when they offered $20 DLC pack.
Wow.
But it did kind of make up for it when I realized there is player-made content, so granted, they don't all seem to be up to the quality of regular trials, but they're fun, and you know,
You know what game has a great value though? Shadowrun Returns.
It's true.
We've talked about this.
Twice now. Trying to think of what else, like, it's just these fucking extreme tracks are aggravating. I don't know why people do this to themselves.
Oh God.
I've
yeah.
only beaten one of them, and that was earlier during the podcast, and because I started during the podcast about an hour in, it took me 177 faults, but I finally made it to the end.
Can I ask you a question, Sam?
Oh.
A few days ago, you were tweeting about how you felt like you wanted to play one of your old games instead of getting on your backlog. What game were you thinking about?
I don't remember. It might have been Dark Souls, because even though there's the DLC, I was just playing that. I do think a lot about playing Ghost Recon again, because I enjoy those. I was playing Rainbow Six again a while ago.
Yeah. Because I'll rehear what I said on Twitter. Like, gaming is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be something you do in order to wind down, to enjoy your spare time.
Yeah, I had to really
If
think
you're
about that
just
quote.
playing a game on your backlog just for the sake of doing it, that's fucking work.
Yeah. I really had to think about that, and I was about to tweet out about that, because it really did make me think, like, why am I stopping myself from playing games I enjoy just because I've played them before? Isn't that...
Because like I said, because I remember I had that same issue when I was playing Planescape Torment again, because I just felt like I wanted to for some reason.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this bad? And then my friend Aluya Yan on Twitter, he told me, you know, gaming is supposed to be fun. If you weren't playing a game that you want to play at the moment because you feel like you have to take your backlog, that's fucking work, man.
Yeah.
I don't have time to play.
I just get the weird feeling that, like, I'm wasting my time if I'm playing a game. It's like, I know this experience, but then it's...
No, I know exactly. Because I still struggle with that to this day. But
I look at my
it's just something to think about. It's like, in the end, you're supposed to enjoy playing games. So if you want to replay a game, just like fuck off and replay the game.
It's almost like you can almost say these things, compare these things to fucking books now, to where like, oh man, I really want to finish this one because of whatever story, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're like that, or you know,
Like,
hey, I play this one every year. Because...
Talking about it again, I might want to play Planescape for a third time because it's a really interesting story and a really fun game when you're playing as a mage.
Yeah. I think it's funny that every year I have the tradition of playing Mirror's Edge every year. And I always beat it.
I play
in,
Mega
like,
Man
3
X.
hours. Yeah. I think we all have those games like every year, just pop it in.
I was curious of what game you wanted to replay because I thought that was an interesting little point that we could have made.
God, looking through my list, I don't know. There's a couple I like to replay, like Assassin's Creed 2. I really wanted to play Crysis with the...
I do like Assassin's Creed 2. Assassin's Creed 2 was like just when the press of forest started going all crazy.
Definitely Dead Space, maybe Binary Domain. Far Cry 3, I had a mod for it that I was playing with. Like, yeah, there's just... I remember at one point I was playing Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, and that's what hit me. I was like, I'm just playing these missions again on like the same difficulty. Like, what am I doing? But yeah, I guess that is kind of the point. It's like I should be beating myself up for playing games again.
You're playing a game to have fun during your spare time. If you're just doing it for the sake of doing it, that's fucking work.
Well, I guess the else thing is that sometimes it is fun. It's just like, but I really shouldn't be ignoring my feelings of like, if I want to play a game, I should be playing a game regardless of how many times I've played it or not. Because if that's what I'm thinking about when I'm playing something else, obviously I'm not interested in what I'm doing enough.
Yeah, basically when like...
Yeah.
Like, I could be like, I'm playing Trials, I've had a lot of fun. It's like, but I really want to play Mirror's Edge. It's like, why am I not just playing Mirror's Edge? It's like, fuck it, Trials will still be here when I come back.
Yeah, it's gonna still be there.
Until Steam dies. It'll be around. But yeah, I don't know the specifics. It's kind of just general games. Like, I worry about that. But
Yeah, so what else have you been doing in your spare time?
So we talked about Firefall. We talked about Trials. Because I had so much to say about Trials, really. Yeah. Been working on my Titanfall challenges. I'm trying to regen. I played a bit of that with Chris, too. That was... He got a kill. He did so well.
a few.
Yeah. Even more than one.
Chris has been a social butterfly this week, it seems.
Oh, yeah. Me and Chris have lots of fun gaming. We play Titanfall, which is okay. We play Firefall, which is the worst of the two falls. Oh, we need to play...
Yep.
I did play a bit of the Nosgoth beta, which Chris couldn't talk about for the longest time. So now I know what he's been playing. It's okay. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's probably more interesting than it is good, which is a phrase I use a lot.
Yeah,
Like,
I would side with you on that one.
It's like a class-based, team-based, third-person shooter, but some guy, like, the...
I remember seeing Jim
vampires
Sterling
don't
play that
shoot.
game on his YouTube channel, and it seemed pretty interesting.
Yeah, I would have suggested we played it because it's got 10 hours left, but I mean, it's free to play when it comes out, so it's not that big of a problem.
Yeah, but that's why I thought it was kind of weird. Like, free for this weekend. I'm like, this is supposed to be a free-to-play game. What?
I'm really surprised they didn't just do that. It's a beta. Like, just, it's a beta, you can pay money. I was like, alright, whatever,
Like,
everybody's doing that.
they were selling packs of that in a recent Humble Bundle. Like, the whole Square Enix Humble Bundle,
Yeah.
Oh, really?
like, if you put enough money into that
You
pack...
can get
got, like,
Daigatana.
you got, like, a DLC. You got, like, a digital deluxe thing for Nosgoth, basically.
Huh. Yeah, I do also appreciate the packs are actually really cheap. They start at like $5 or $2.50 for this weekend. So it's not like the first pack for like extra stuff is like $50. So at least as far as that. As far as the game itself, it is cool. I definitely want to see more classes because there's only 2 per side when I played it. But I think that it gains a lot from being free to play. I'm not really sure I'd pay much for that, but being free, I will definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Seems cool. It's almost like the vampires almost play like Left 4 Dead characters. Like there's one that just straight up has a hunter pounce. Like you charge it up and it has a ring around your crosshair, and then when you leap on somebody, you start clawing their guts out, just like the hunter.
Yeah.
It's
Basically.
One of the humans is Zoe.
Yes, except there's like a chick who has a grenade launcher and there's a dude who has a bow gun. That's what I played.
Yeah, because I remember playing during the alpha, and they had like 3 classes at the time, but
Yeah,
I don't know
you
what...
can unlock more. I just didn't get far enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Fuck, I'm just type around stuff I played for like an hour. I played War Thunder, which is it's a playing game. It's World War II plane simulator. That was fun.
Cool.
Yeah. Played The Fall, Atmospheric. Check it out. The Giant Bomb. Quick look. It's better than I can explain it. Did not play Counter-Strike this week. Oh, and I played a game of Dota 2 with my buddy Taylor and Chris because Firefall was down, so we played Dota, the next logical option. We got our shit wrecked.
Yeah.
The funniest part was the dude who talked to Chris and was like, "Do you know what you're doing?" And Chris was like, "I'm new," and then he just left.
Yeah.
Like he was the typical MOBA guy you hear about when you hear about the toxic community. He just fucking jumped out.
Yeah. Like, so, yeah, because we didn't play against bots. We played against an actual human team, which was probably our first and most obvious mistake.
Well, we were also playing with Taylor and my sort of friend Aaron, and Aaron's like, "We should play with people." I'm like, "I don't know, man." He's like, "It'll be fine." I'm like, "Oh, yeah."
Yeah, it wasn't fine at all.
Could have been better.
Although, granted, I gotta say this about Dota. The fact that you can open up fucking wikis on a character and then have those guide your decisions, like the menu interface, that's fucking rad.
Because
like,
I was going to bring that up in my annotations that I never wrote because Brandon's better at that than me. For when we talk about League of Legends and Dota, I was going to bring that up because I realized that. I was like, that is amazing, and League should have something like that. Where you basically put a guide, they're player-written guides that say, like, hey, if you want to play Lina as a mid lane, here's what you should do. And it'll tell you which upgrades to get by highlighting them.
Wait, it doesn't... Yeah, that's Steam's player-made guides, right?
Yeah. So it'll not only highlight which abilities to get every level, it'll also tell you which items you should get based on starting, or you can even rename the item packs, so you can say, like, when being ganked, use this item. And then it'll have, like, a description of, like, here's what you should do. And if you actually hover over the abilities, it'll also have a player description of how you should use it. It's incredible. And you can just pull it up for anybody. And it'll stick with your character when you leave and come back to it.
That's cool.
Way better than League as far as teaching people.
Yeah, I almost felt like I was playing Dragon Knight competently,
Yeah.
which I still wasn't.
And I
but-
remember my annotations for that last episode when I talked about the difference between what Garrett was thinking about tutorials and what you were thinking about tutorials. I think it comes down to what your learning style is, really.
Yeah.
Garrett is kind of the person, from what I gathered, that was more the person that is someone who's comfortable with reading about things and then doing them after he's read about them, whereas you, and to an extent myself, are more people who like, just since we're playing games, just want to experiment with the game and not worry about reading
Yeah.
the manual and all that bullshit.
And that guide is probably a happy medium, because you do have to read a little bit, but it's like a
Yeah.
paragraph. And more importantly, it just tells you the abilities to get. So you can have a very rough understanding of, oh, they want me to get the stun ability
Yeah.
first, so it's probably just so that people won't run away, or I can stop them when I'm running away.
And it's very hard to find a good compromise between those two styles
Yeah.
because they are very divergent.
I do feel like Dota nailed it pretty hard, though, because the only problem is they don't really point it out, which they should. Maybe it's in the tutorial, which I did not play, because I have the basics down. But it's very cool to see player-written guides, and they're like, look, I've played this character millions of hours, I know what to do. And they're all pretty friendly, like, they're pretty well written, they understand what you're doing, and they help. And I did discover...
And to an extent, every video game has that kind of problem because every game has its own unique control set. Like, some of them are similar than others, but they're all fairly, at least to some degree, unique.
Yeah,
And at some level, the game is supposed to teach you how to play it
yeah, it's
through
just
its
that
mechanics.
MOBAs are just so complex between all the character matchups.
Yeah, most cigarettes are really a huge problem, but it's still a lesser problem to all sorts of games. So it's a very widely applicable lesson.
Yeah.
I want to write a piece on that at some point.
Yeah. Other than that, though, the Dota game was fun. Like, I feel bad because Chris was missing out on some of the crazy shit that was happening with me and Taylor because we were doing the same lane. Because I was just screaming at some points, like, the top of my lungs, because I think it's what ganking is. I'm sure Garrett's rolling over in his sick bed if I'm wrong, but the idea, which I think is, like, where you flank someone and you just wreck them from behind. Because there was, like, some guy pushed in, and I just came out of the trees, and I was like, what's up, motherfucker? And just killed him. And then I was just, like, screaming. And so it was like, God damn it. I'm like, it was the first time I've got a kill. Shut up. Like, ever against a human player. That was the first time. Oh, I saw my name on there. And it said, I pwned that guy. Because Dota always says pwned. Which is really weird.
Meanwhile, I was up in the top lane with some fucking asshole.
You were up with the asshole who left and became the AI.
Yep.
Yep. It was but yeah, Dota is amazingly more fun with friends, especially, more importantly, friends who do not give a fuck if you're bad.
Yeah.
Like, I once played League with a bunch of former friends of mine that I've talked to since, like, high school, and they are pretty aggressive as far as, like, not liking it when you do bad. Versus,
Is that
like,
why they're former friends?
one of many reasons. But I don't play games with them. But then, like, Taylor, I was like, dude, I'm gonna be so bad. He's like, I couldn't give less of a fuck. And sure enough, during the game, he's like, I'm having fun. I'm like, we're losing. Terry's like, I don't care, I'm having fun. And Aaron didn't seem to mind. He was just spouting nonsense that I didn't understand. But it was an enjoyable time. I had fun playing Dota with friends. Because nobody knew the characters, and we didn't care that we were losing. We got kills every once in a while. It was enjoyable.
It was more so just the fact of none of us gave a fuck. We were just happy to be doing it together. Like,
yeah. Technically, the ideal, if I could ever arrange it, would be to get both sides with people of our experience. So that way, like, every kill is just like, holy shit, somebody actually killed someone. That would be incredible. Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's a cool game. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
And
I think this is a good time to call it.
yeah.
I touched on other stuff, but yeah, nothing important.
Before we close, I just want to say that I have a piece coming out on Injustice Gods Among Us. It'll probably be out by the time this podcast is up. I just need to edit it and then post it.
Challenge accepted. Get this podcast up first. It's already up on YouTube. I don't know, it's probably going to take another day. Especially, I'm thinking about creating a custom thumbnail for this because I made some weird distortion art on Twitter, which you can check out on my Twitter. So yeah, we'll see.
Link in the doobly-doo.
Doobly-doo. Whoever came up with doobly-doo? Because I know a bunch of people do it.
I want to credit John Green or Hank Green of the Vlog Brothers for that, probably.
Probably, because I know...
The wibbly wobbly timely wimely one.
Thank you, Dr.
Yeah, you know, John Green, head of the AFC Wimbledon Wimbly Womblies.
Oh god. I always think of Idea Channel. He's says that, and that's the show I watch.
Yeah, that's it. That guy's pretty cool.
I can't remember his name all of a sudden. I used to know it.
I watched PBS Game /Show, and I know that guy. I didn't know the guy's name was Jamin for like the longest time, and I felt so bad. I felt so bad.
Mike Ruthiel, I
Yeah.
believe, is the name of the Idea Channel guy. He's a cool dude. I haven't watched much game show. Is it good?
It is good. Yeah, the guy's pretty cool.
Yeah. I watched like the first few episodes, and I was kind of like, this is kind of rough.
It's basically
but so is Idea
Idea
Channel.
Show for games,
Yeah. Interesting.
and it's pretty cool.
So yeah. Hopefully next week
Thanks
we
for
might
listening,
try to
folks.
maybe next week we'll make this shorter. Maybe. We'll figure it out. We are trying to make this shorter, so but for those of you who listen to the whole thing,
Congrats, and I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I don't know what game you're playing that you can do this with, but please tell me what it is, because it must be a nice combination.
It may be their car commute to work.
I mean,
that's
that's
how
what
I
I
would
listen to podcasts.
That's how I would listen to the podcast, just in my car.
Yeah. We should probably work on getting on iTunes for something like that.
I mean, you're a pizza delivery guy, so you can listen to it while you're delivering pizzas.
True. Yeah, I think we should work on like getting onto iTunes or something like that.
Like
Because
literally,
that would
your
really help.
whole
Yeah,
day
it's not
is
cheap.
consumed with times to watch
Wait,
a
it
podcast.
costs money to get on iTunes?
I think so. I don't know. I don't know the specifics of it.
I heard it's hard to get on iTunes actually nowadays.
Yeah, because I know somebody has to listen to it, so it's probably have to have a certain
Yeah.
number
Oh,
of
we're not going to
viewers.
get on iTunes then. I'm sorry.
No.
You're listening to God. I think you have to have like a certain amount of viewers or regular audience or whatever. We'll figure it out. I don't know. We may figure out a new place to put this. I don't fucking know. And at some point, probably this week, I'll start putting up MP3 versions that you can download so you don't have to use YouTube and MP3. I'll just save you the trouble.
Yeah, that would be helpful because I've had a number of people complain to me about that particular issue.
Who the hell's complaining to you and not writing letters to me? Get my
In
No
face-
shit.
On Facebook, I've had a couple people complain that
Oh.
they would rather have an MP3 version than
Tell them to
YouTube.
write letters so I can read them because I'm the one who fixes this shit. Jeez. Anyway. Oh yeah, we never did the question thing, but questions, comments, don't write any concerns to the texturepop@gmail.com. It'll be
Someone will read them, probably Asher.
Yeah, because I'm the one who has the account at the moment. I still need to give you guys the details so you can read this shit. Anyway,
Link in the doobly-doo.
well, see you next week, guys.
See ya.
Nothing
See ya.
bad.